Welcome to PENSARE BASKETBALL. Sorry for the delays. I was on a Twitter space talking to some people about Kade and Scotty because this has been a big discussion on this channel. I think this discussion started on this channel because Kade and Scotty have never been compared, never really been legitimately compared. There was never any discussion about these two. And then I made that video that got 10,000 views, and a lot of people in Detroit started to come with some heat. And going into this game, I made sure to get the data together in the event that a game like this did happen so that we could see the clear separation between these two players. And of course, if you're a box score casual, you watch this game and you're like, damn, Cade really is Luka Doncic. Well, I got news for you. If you're a Raptor fan, he is not. If you're a Detroit fan, kiss my ass. He's not at all. Yesterday, Player's Choice was on Playback with Gilbert Arenas. They compared him to Brandon Roy. Lord help me. Lord help me, man. If you saw Brandon Roy out there, you really don't know what you're watching. Okay. Overall, the Toronto Raptors had a competitive game. That's what you need tonight. You needed a competitive game on the road. The Raptors have won one game on the road. It is against the New Orleans Pelicans. And by the way, that New Orleans Pelicans team, that's the team that you are currently tied with right now for the second worst record in the league. That's good. That's good. And I got to say, Chris Boucher, special shout out to Chris Boucher, man. The Raptors came out in the first quarter and looked like they were just ready to roll over and die. And Chris Boucher said, nope, not on my watch. We're going to make this really fun, really competitive game. So big shout out to Chris Boucher. Big shout out to Jamal Shead, man. Jamal Shead just wins. And I'm going to show you a tweet from October that I made about Jamal Shead. I think this dude is really, really good. Now, I am perfectly aware that there's still a chance that maybe in a couple of years, the jump shot is a little bit shaky, inconsistent, and he's still kind of floating around with minimum contracts and floating at the edge of the league. But I identified something in this guy right after we drafted him, and I started to research him, and I said, no, cares too much to fail. Winner through and through. And this guy has just been winning his minutes, and he has clearly responded to Darko's show of faith in him that he has the absolutely start a movement. Shed heads. We are all shed heads today. Y'all notice that Jamal Shead has been the cover of our Twitter profile for good reason. Love this kid. Love the way he plays. He's a pure point guard. He's a winner. He makes mistakes all the time. Defensively, he's a little bit compromised. Give this guy some time. I like rookie Jamal Shead so much more than I like rookie Fred VanVleet. And lately, rookie Jamal Shead has been shooting like Fred VanVleet. Now, that might be a little bit of a high praise, a little bit of hyperbole there, but it's great. You will see why, okay? Look, y'all who follow me long enough, you know I'm not politically correct. I'm not one of those people to duck the smoke when my team is down. I'm not someone who's going to stop gassing Scotty or stop talking well about Scotty because he's having a cold shooting streak. I stand on what I believe. I've always stood on what I believe. And I'm not about to start reimagining who Cade Cunningham is as a basketball player because he's having a hot stretch of games. That's crazy. I've given him his credit. I've said he's played like an all-star this year. He is a very good player. He's always been a very good player. He has issues. Tonight, those issues were on full display. But if you are a box score casual, if you're Jack Armstrong, if you're Matt Devlin, if you're the broadcast crew, you probably didn't see that. And you know what? No shade to you. You probably just need to look a little harder. But don't you worry, because I got the film, and I'm going to show you exactly what those gaps are. Because any person who really understands basketball, any person who really, really studies this game, who really looks deep into the tape, who understands what it takes to be a star and a superstar at this level, they don't think Cade's a superstar. Y'all crazy. Key M, you are on the right track. I'd be remiss if I did not mention at this point that RJ Barrett had the game from hell tonight. This was bad. This was really bad. Emmanuel quickly had a pretty competitive game. We're going to talk about all these players because there's a lot of film to break down today. We're going to look at the numbers. We're going to look at the stats. We're going to talk a little bit about it. I think that it's also worth noting that Ochai Agbaji did not play tonight. Jacoby Walter only played 4 minutes. Chris Boucher, despite pretty much carrying the team in the first half, really didn't get too much burn in the second half. And I really think that if the Raptors wanted to win this game, they could have won this game by 10. Easy. Okay. Kade has been better than Scotty this year. Still always love Scotty. Would pick him 100 times out of 100. Armin, you've been going at it on and on and on Twitter, and I'm not even trying to come at you. You're always supporting us. You're always, commenting. I appreciate the love. I appreciate the support. But little bro, on this one, we're just gonna have to agree to disagree, man. Because I'm seeing something that you're not seeing in Kade. I'm seeing something you're not seeing in Scotty. I'm obviously a lot higher on Scotty than the consensus. I've always been higher on Scotty than the consensus. And one day when I'm right, I'm going to be insufferable. But until then, I'm still going to be insufferable because that's how I roll. Okay. The Raptors have lost a lot of games. Okay. Rise Iron saying respectfully, Kade is better than Scotty. No, he's not. No, he's not. No, he ain't. But you know what? If it helps you, what do we have to lose here? In the end, the dust is going to settle. One of these guys is going to be a Hall of Famer. The other guy is going to be a 3-4 time All-Star. Y'all can gas Kade up all you want, man. It really doesn't bother me. I don't really care. What I'm trying to say is, to the people who actually want to understand basketball, please believe me when I say this. To date, there is not one shred of evidence that suggests that Cade Cunningham has superstar upside. Not a chance. All right. Okay. Scottie Barnes, kind of a mixed game offensively. I thought he was crazy on the glass. I thought his defense was incredible, but not a lot of on-ball reps. This game felt a little bit more like that Brooklyn game where he was more of a connective passer, less of an initiator. A lot of the offense was initiated through Jamal Shead for good and Emmanuel Quickley, not for good. Emmanuel Quickley played a lot of isolation basketball, called his number way too often, missed early windows in transition. I really don't know if this Emmanuel Quickley at point guard thing is going to work out long term. I really don't see him as like a lead initiator like a De'Aaron Fox. He just doesn't have the greatest feel for that position. And I think sometimes tonight, like that -24 might be a little misleading, but it's definitely not that misleading, man. Like I think he got cooked defensively way too often. He was late in rotations. And, both he and RJ, it wasn't for a lack of trying. It just was for a lack of everything else. It was a lack of execution, a lack of communication, a lack of IQ, frankly. I mean, Scotty had Cade locked all night, one-on-one. It was nothing that Cade could do against Scotty. Airballed one. It was nothing. So why blitz? Why trap? Why force that? Why force that scramble when the other three defenders around you, two of them are so compromised? See, because in order for this to work, Emmanuel Quickley legitimately has to be your second or third best defender. He can't be helping on Cade and then leaving RJ and Grady to rotate onto shooters because Tim Hardaway and Malik Beasley just killed him tonight. Okay. Overall, Grady, another somewhat inefficient game, but he did hit 4 out of 8 from 3, which was good. Scotty 5 for 14. I think some of them are chippies. I think one of them was absolutely a foul that didn't get called, but overall, just not a super impressive offensive game. But man, I thought he commanded the game defensively. I thought they were just so much better when he was on the court defensively. And again, in that one-on-one matchup, I don't think I saw Cade Cunningham guard Scotty more than once. Okay, I saw Scotty guard Cade relentlessly. And when he did, the Raptors had good results. When it was RJ, when it was Grady, when it was IQ, when it was Bruce Brown, that's usually when Cade got going. It's usually a screen, open three, transition, etc. So I don't think, to anyone thinking, oh, wow, head-to-head matchup, Scottie Barnes got cooked by Cade Cunningham. Cook nothing. Cook water, nothing. Okay? Cade Cunningham, his team struggled without him on the court. He creates a lot of offense for them. He is, without Jaden Ivey, he is really their only initiator. And he initiates a lot of those touches. Everybody else is just a finisher or at best a connective passer like an Asar Thompson has some passing chops, but this is not an initiator. So Cade is basically initiating all the offense. When he's not on the court, it's just hot potato with the basketball. So clearly they were going to be much, much better with him on the court. But I think defensively, Cade gave up a lot. He did have 8 turnovers, almost had 10, man. There were a couple that just kind of slipped away. The Raptors had it. It went right back to the Detroit Pistons. I did not think this was some sort of commanding Luka Doncic performance. Look, man, I've been watching superstars my whole life. I know what they process the court like. I know what they move like. I know what they finish like. This is not it. Jalen Duren, competitive game tonight. I've had a lot of issues with his defense, free throw shooting. There's a lot of issues, but tonight he made them. The Raptors put him on the line late. Speaking of free throws, the Raptors did not hit their free throws. And that was a huge, huge issue in this game. But honestly, at this point, if you're rooting for losses and wins, if you're rooting for wins at this point because you just need one to carry you over, you're pretty much adopting the methodology of a crack addict. Like, you just need to chill, quit cold turkey, quit the wins, man. Just quit cold turkey, and you will be a happier person. At this point, you're going to pick up at least 10 more wins this season. I don't know where they're going to be. I don't know when they're going to be. Keeks talked about it on X today. I think she put out a tweet saying like the Raptors have like the easiest or one of the easiest schedules, if not the easiest strength of schedule after the All-Star break. The All-Star break is almost here. So it's gonna be like some wins that you don't want at that point, and you could do whatever you want. You could be playing AJ Lawson, you can play Ulrich Shamshay, you might still win. So it's important to rack up these losses now because they all count the same at the end of the year. Ron Holland struggled tonight, 5th overall pick. He's been mixed. Tobias Harris, again, got busy on RJ Barrett, 17 points for Tobias Harris. Overall, tough. The Raptors did lead a lot. They led a lot of this game. If you want to look at the win probability, there were just blips where the Raptors pulled ahead. 100-99 to start the fourth quarter. They were up, I believe, where we go here. And then Detroit pulls it out 101-100, 109-104, and then it just goes like that, right? The run that pretty much cratered the Raptors was in the fourth quarter. But I think that it's important to realize that apart from that first quarter meltdown that the Raptors had where they found themselves in the hole 29-21, they really, well, actually it was a worse hole. Hold on, let me just see here. 21-10. And then Chris Boucher comes in and just pretty much turns the game around. I think we were tied at we were tied at the end of the first half. Scotty makes that great sort of full court pass to Chris Boucher. He hits the three, and we end up tied at the end of the first quarter. So this game was not supposed to be that close. I mean, I'm just being honest that the Raptors have been playing like really bad, and you're not going to sustain too many performances from RJ Barrett like this. Like, he was abysmal on both ends. Like, as bad as I think he was defensively, he might have been just as bad, if not worse, offensively. The Raptors were inefficient from the field, but they did shoot well from three. 42% is nice, but they gave up 57.6% from three. That's nearly 60%. And I don't think this is such a great shooting team. They shot 52%. Like, the Raptors defense was cheddar. And I don't think that it's everybody. I really don't. But let's be honest. You're not playing some of your best defenders right now. Chris Boucher made mistakes defensively, as it tends to be, right? Okay, y'all, there is clearly a very nice Detroit Pistons podcast that all the Kade Glazers can go to. Appreciate the ad revenue, y'all, but you can just piss the hell off. I'm not trying to have this Kade and Scotty debate every fucking time these guys play. Honestly, I'm trying to show you the gaps in this guy's game. You don't want to see it. You can go to the playoffs and find out for yourself when defenses scheme up against them. Okay, I'm not trying to have it. So, if you wanna have this debate, go have it somewhere else, man. All right, 35 assists for the Detroit Pistons. Again, just better process. But I think that it's important to realize the Raptors would have had more assists if they hit more shots. You know what I mean? It's just the Raptors didn't hit their shots. They didn't hit their free throws. They didn't hit their threes. They were abysmal from everywhere. Okay, apart from threes. They hit their threes, but apart from threes, they missed 9 free throws. 9 free throws? How you missed 9 free throws in a game? And you lost by 9. Last game, what was it? They lost by exactly how many free throws they missed. They keep doing this, right? Overall, the Raptors limited their turnovers, probably because there wasn't a hell of a lot of passing going on. In terms of points in the paint, the Raptors win that battle. I thought Jakob Poeltl was effective tonight. They did lead by 2, the aforementioned, I believe, 101-99, but then eventually the Pistons pulled ahead. Okay. Scotty over Kade all day. You guys need to watch Kade play defense versus Kade. There was a reason Kade passed the ball every time Scotty went up against him. Penn is mad for a reason because y'all delusional. Yo, I'm mad because I'm kind of sick and tired of this media space always gassing up this one-dimensional isolation player. Now, Kade is a very good player. He's a very good player. Please understand. I said earlier in the offseason that I might have taken that I would have taken Trey Murphy over him, that I would consider Jalen Suggs over him. I was wrong. Kade has proven himself to be much better than those players this year, and I did not see this coming. Improved supporting cast. I was wrong. I underestimated him last year. But please don't take my admitting that I've underestimated Kade a little bit to think that I'm somehow conceding Kade is better than Scotty. Kade is not better than Scotty. He's not close to Scotty. Shut the fuck up about it. He's not. He's not. Would you trade IQ for Kade? I'd be really stupid not to, wouldn't I? I'd be really, really stupid not to, right? But I mean, at the end of the day, honestly, yeah, of course I would. Yeah, I would. That I would do. But okay, let's get to the film session. Y'all gonna enjoy this. And frankly, if you're a Cade Cunningham fan, you're gonna cry on this film session. I literally cut a film session to this dude. I literally cut a clip to this dude getting clamped by Scotty and set it to Euphoria by Kendrick Lamar. Oh, this is serious. Okay, in the build up to this, obviously there were a lot of Cade Cunningham posts yesterday, and this is just a reminder: the Raptors have moved up to 8-31, so this is no longer a the Raptors are third, they are second. Okay, now here we go. Da, 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 da. Okay, here's the first one. This is their career. Okay, this is their career to date. Just in case y'all haven't seen this, this is their career to date. Who are we talking about? We're talking about a player who has vastly outperformed the other player consistently. He just doesn't score as much. What's he missing? 3 points? Okay. But how many shots? That's what I want to know. How many shots is the other guy taking? Right? Scotty's not a completed project on offense. We know this. Now, this is something I really want to point out. Potential assists. Y'all see Scottie Barnes there? 13 potential assists per game. Y'all see how many assists he actually gets? 6.5. You know what 6.5 is relative to 13? It's exactly half. And I'll guarantee you that number went up tonight because he had a lot of potential assists tonight too. So what does that mean? That means Scotty is playing with the worst finishing talent of any player on this list, bar none. There's nobody on this list, including LaMelo, who also has a very low assist to potential assist ratio. LaMelo and Scotty are playing with the lowest quality of talent on this team. You can say what you want about it. Honestly, it's not just because Scotty's teammates are bad. It's because Scotty plays with a lot of really bad lineups. He plays with a lot of really bad finishers. And that's just the truth. 13 assists, 13 potential assists is more than Luka Doncic. How many of you are willing to put Scotty in Luka load conversations? Not many. Not many people in the league. We were on the panel and we were talking about the best passers in the league. Every single player on this list, other than Scotty, was gassed up as an elite or GOAT passer. All of them. Trae Young, Nikola Jokic, LeBron, they were all GOAT passers. Chris Paul was a GOAT passer. Tyrese Halliburton was an A-tier passer. What did they put Scotty in? They put Scotty in the second bottom tier. This is my issue. My issue is y'all not seeing what is actually happening, and you're focusing on the results. And I'm telling you, I'm not a results-based person. I'm a process-based person, and this is the process of the offense. Here's something else. There was some clamoring earlier this season that every one of Scotty's good games results in a loss. Well, I would like to debunk that myth right here. Take a look at Cade Cunningham and losses and take a look at Cade Cunningham and wins. Tonight's game looked a lot more like those win numbers, right? Less scoring, lower field goal percentage, higher assists, right? In losses, he actually shoots better and he scores more. But Scotty, there's a nearly 7-point differential in wins and losses. There's an 11-point differential in field goal percentage. Tonight, Scotty's overall portfolio looked like his losses. This is closer to his loss portfolio than his wins. And Cade's looked more like a win than a loss. So yes, these two players determine a lot for their teams. That's what happens when you're your team's best player. But please don't get it twisted, okay? This is not Brandon Roy Part 2. Sorry, no chill, Gil. This ain't Brandon Roy Part 2. And keep saying it over and over. You can try to anoint him to face the league. It's not going to change anything, okay? Now, I got real petty real fast. Scottie Barnes showing Cade Cunningham what a great passer is. Oh, look, I'm not denying that Cade's a very good passer. There's levels to this though. And this is a great pass. It's a phenomenal pass. Okay. But it's not the most impressive pass. Okay. Take a look at this. Da, 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 da. As I said, great pass, Scotty tips this, then RJ tips this. Luckily, they don't get called for, lucky for them. And I guess lucky for the Raptors because Raptors were in a live ball situation. And then boom, where's the defense? Nice defense. Actually, give Cade some credit. He did block Scotty on a with the help side block today. So that was pretty good. Okay. Chris Boucher doing grown man things. This is a little bit of a highlight package for Chris Boucher. Chris Boucher was all over the place. He started with this putback jam. Then he hits a 3. Then he hit another 3. He had 14 points in the first quarter. Wow. CT saying, did we lose the OG trade? There's a good rule of thumb that when you trade the best player, you lose the trade. But there's another rule of thumb: when you overpay that best player, you lose the trade yourself. No, I don't necessarily think we lost the OG trade. Got Jonathan Mobo. You got a rebuild. There ain't no way in hell you're an 8-win team with OG Anunoby. I'll tell you that. That dude impacts winning way too much. You'd be a 21 win team, and you'd be butting your head in the play-in right now. Okay. Chris Boucher. This is the play to end the first quarter, and this is a miracle. Now, once again, the Raptors once again leave a lot of time on the clock, but I'm perfectly fine with it if you're going to take this shot. But honestly, like, I just wish we wouldn't do this. Like, take the final shot. But it's like, is this the final shot that you want? And it's like, you're leaving enough space on the clock. It's like, are you trying to lose? Is there some sort of mandate from Darko? I've never seen a team more consistently not take the final shot of a quarter. I've never seen it in my life. Okay, Scotty continues his mid-range assassin work here, gets Simone Fontecchio on his back, and boom, calls his own number there. I needed more of this from Scotty tonight. If we wanted to win, Scotty just needed to do that. There was nobody on that team who could stop him. I think Asar has a really good chance because Asar, if y'all remember, shut down Cade Cunningham. Sorry, not shut down Cade, shut down Shai Gilgeous-Alexander last year. But I think Scotty is just a little too strong for Asar right now. So I think, like, if he really wanted to, like, even there's a turnaround jumper, I want to say it was on Cade, that Scotty missed. You need to see how wide open he was on that. Like, he clears 4 to 8 feet of separation on those turnarounds. It's not guardable. Once he figures it out, once he gets the repetitions down, I mean, he's already figuring it out, but like, once he gets it down pat, there's nothing you can do. All right. Okay, here, Scotty doing a little bit of reaching, trying to make Cade a little uncomfortable. Cade gets a step. Scotty swallows it up, and nice air ball. Nice air ball. Good defense. All right, here. Cade gets the N1 rip through over Jacoby Walter. Count the steps. Count the steps, man. 1, 2, 3, 4. And he'd already picked up his dribble. How do you allow a guy to travel as often as Cade does? What is going on here? Okay, here, credit where credit is due. Show some good Cade clips too. Here, he's going to push off on RJ Barrett. RJ goes back, loses his balance. Cade gets a wide open shot. This is what I'm talking about. These are the types of openings. This type of separation is what Shai Gilgeous-Alexander can do without the push off. Okay. Truth be told, you're not going to be guarded by RJ Barrett and Grady Dick in the playoffs. You're going to be guarded by good defenders in the playoffs. You're not, if you go up against Atlanta in the play-in, right? Let's just say, for instance, Detroit versus Atlanta in the play-in. You think he's doing this against Dyson Daniels and Jalen Johnson and Zachary Rubisachet? He is not. So that's where I say stars generate advantages. Now, big shout outs to Paolo Banchero, another player, first overall pick that I've talked a lot of shit about. Yeah, I don't talk shit about Paolo anymore. Paolo has officially been minted. I respect that dude because he is creating spaces. All I had to do was watch 2 games of Paolo this year, and I was like, okay, we're wrong. Okay, let's just move on. I don't hold on to a bad take. Please understand me. I don't hold on to a bad take. I will 100% admit if there was something in Paolo's game, I didn't see Paolo doing this in Duke. I did not. I mean, credit to Jeff Weltman and Anthony Parker and all those dudes over in Orlando to see that. Obviously, I would still prefer Chet, but Chet has been very injury prone. Paolo is great. Paolo is really, really great. Like, he's a really good player. Like, I was saying, like, oh my God, Scotty clears Paolo. Honestly, it's a discussion. Offensively, edge Paolo. Defensively, big edge Scotty. So, you know what? Paolo is going to be for sure. Like, I think Paolo could be like 12 to 13 time All-Star. That's not what I see That's not what I see in this dude. That's not what I see in Cade. Watch this. Okay, here, Scotty's just going to swallow up this possession. Do you see the size advantage? Hang on. Okay, watch this. Do you see? I mean, I know Cade is low, but like Scotty's low here too. This looks like a 6'5" player going up against a 6'10" player. And both these guys were supposed to be 6'8". So that's the gap. That's the advantage. It's an athleticism gap. It's a size gap. And frankly, it's just a talent gap when it comes to what he's able to do physically. I mean, shit, like he couldn't do anything against him. Find me a clip tonight of Cade going to one-on-one against Scotty and scoring. He's just not doing it. Not doing it. Scotty locked him up. Now watch this. So watch the top left of your corner, top left corner of your screen, right? Now watch. Now Scotty wants to try to initiate like a post up against Cade, right? He sees that the help is a little bit high, so he wants to initiate a little quick hitter here. Cade's gonna push Scotty here. He's just gonna shove him. He just takes a little arm and just sort of stiff arms him, right? So Scotty's looking at the refs like, are you going to call that? Like, what are we doing here? Now, watch Asar Thompson basically do even worse. Now, here's, once again, they miss him. You got to make this pass, Jamal Shead. Cade cannot stop Scotty in the post. Cade can't stop Scotty anywhere. Scotty, Cade, matchup over. One-on-one, Scotty would kill this dude. He's not strong enough. He's not big enough. He's not a good defender. He would destroy him. This would be like Scotty going up against RJ Barrett. It's not possible for him to stop him. But Jamal Shead is going to go away from Scotty for some stupid reason, and he's going to pass the ball to RJ Barrett, and RJ is going to get fouled here. Look at this. Boom. That's a foul, man. That's a foul. Crazy. Anyway, Scotty's not going to give up on this play, blocks the shot anyway, but I do want to say the Pistons got away with 2 fouls right in front of the refs. Crazy. Okay, big time dig by Jamal Shead, but also to all of you, Cade is Brandon Roy. Brandon Roy would have pounded this. Man, y'all really need to stop talking about Cade in these conversations. What the hell? This is your refined first option. This is your superstar. This is your, like, what are we talking about? What are we doing here? Yo, honestly, the last time I lost my mind this hard is when people were trying to tell me Pascal Siakam was a top 10 player. Y'all remember that? Yesterday, I looked myself up on Reddit. Oh, that was a bad idea. Bad idea. People hate me so much on Reddit. They hate me so much. A lot of it, honestly, probably warranted. Some of it is just a lie, like straight up. There's just some dude who comes on, says, this is something true about PENSARE basketball. And then they get all like, okay, I guess that's true. And then one person says it, another person says it, and says it. Yo, I never hated Pascal Siakam. I hated the fact that y'all thought he was a top 10 player in the league. I was fighting that. I was fighting it. I was fighting DeMar DeRozan as a top 10 player, a top 15 player. I was fighting the, Chris Bosh MVP chance. I've always fought against the narrative when it goes too far because, truth be told, it's really frustrating. Intellectually, it's very frustrating to see a middle of the pack sub all-star be gassed up like he's something. And you're going to call me a hater for trying to correct the record. Yo, when they started telling me Manuel Quickley is some great point guard, I'm like, yo, my God, y'all going to make me start hating on one of my favorite players. I don't want to hate on Emmanuel Quickley. I love Emmanuel Quickley, but call a buck a buck. Why are we so dumb? Why are we so dumb? Why do we consume basketball this way? Y'all watch film? I talk to people who watch film, like real film. Like we're sitting there for 3 hours dissecting a single play, 2 plays, 3 plays, talking about how many different ways it could have gone. That's the real study. This Twitter stuff, this YouTube hot take stuff, this is stupid. Stupid. Stupid as hell. Anyways, here we go. Oh yeah, and by the way, watch Cade's defense here. Whose man is that? Is that lights out shooter Grady Dick? Yeah, that's him. Yeah, great defense, Cade Cunningham. Boom. There's a big reason why Grady was as open as he was tonight too. So y'all not going to count that 3 points against Cade, are you? No, that's just 3 points for Grady. But if that's Scotty, that's getting blocked. Scotty's getting back on that play. But y'all want to talk about Scotty doesn't get back on defense. Scotty has an inconsistent motor. But you won't talk about that. Every time Scotty has like a 6 turnover game. Oh my God, Scotty's so bad. But tonight, Cade has 8 turnovers. It's like, oh, well, that's just the process of the offense. You give some, you lose some. People bend the rules for people that they like so much more than they do for people they don't like. People are so forgiving towards the people that they like. Pascal Siakam blows play after play after play. I don't hear jack shit. Fred VanVleet complains about calls. I don't hear nothing. Scotty complains about one call. Oh, he's got bad attitude. Look at that body language. Yo, here's the thing. I'm going to make it real clear. Let me look in the camera when I say this. Scottie Barnes is my favorite player. He is my favorite player. I've never made any secret of that. He is my favorite player. But don't tell me my favorite player is a bum. Okay? Y'all just don't like my favorite player. Some of you guys don't like my favorite player. Some of you I hate watching from Detroit. Welcome to the chat. Y'all don't like Scotty. And that's perfectly fine. I'm cool with it. I've gotten used to it. I've been watching this kid get hated on for like 8 years. It's cool. Hasn't stopped him yet. Keep it coming. Now, I'm not going to get demonetized for playing Euphoria, but let me show you what Scotty did against Cade Cunningham, and you tell me this looks like a superstar to you. Superstar? Yo, Brandon Roy hits this easy. Scotty didn't even contest that. Just boom. Power up. Or you get bailed out by the refs even though you travel. No separation. Can't get separation. Can't get him off. Can't get him off. It's like glue. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Doesn't matter. Brick it. Brick it anyway. No lift below the rim finisher. Fouling because you're afraid. Fouling because you're frustrated because the guy keeps locking you up. Getting stripped by a rookie? That's your superstar? Getting stripped by a rookie? Jesus Christ. Lord have mercy on the Kade nut huggers in my life. All right. Scotty, little bomb 3. Raptors were kind of like losing it a little bit there. Scotty's going to hit a 3. Tobias not going to put a hand up. All right. Okay. Yo, people get getting mad at me. They're like, yo, why are you hating on Cade so much? So I just decided to highlight all of Cade's negative plays as positive plays for the Raptors. So this one, the caption was, nice read, Yak. Yeah, nice read. He projected that from 3 seconds. He projected that. No wonder Jakob. When's the last time you seen Jakob put his arms up for anything? Okay. Now here, Jamal Shead is good is the caption, and Lord help me, that is just an understatement. Jamal Shead is awesome. He's been balling from 3. I literally cannot remember the last time this dude missed a 3. Y'all know, like every single 2 weeks, we're talking about a new player who's getting better under Darko. This is the latest player who's getting way better under Darko. Michael Smith saying, how does Cade compare to RJ? He's a way better ball handler. He's a way better half-court scorer. He's a slightly better defender. He's a worse transition athlete. That's how I think that he would compare. Okay. All right. And the next play, this was awesome too. This is great. This is absolutely great. Just beats his man off the dribble here. Malik Beasley can't catch up. Finish and one, baby. Man, I cannot tell you how happy I am for Jamal Shead right now. 45th pick, bet on yourself. I didn't like the last guy who bet on himself, but I like this dude who bets on himself a lot. A lot. Okay. All right. Bruce Brown with, okay, I'm going to tell you this right now. The game swung right here. This is the play right here. This play, Emmanuel quickly finds a wide open Bruce Brown, not a defender in sight. You must take this shot, or I'm never passing you the ball again. If I was a point guard and he did this bullshit, we're throwing hands. We like the bus ride is going to be real uncomfortable. Okay. If you don't take this shot and then you do this bullshit, holy crap. Yo, you felt the air just come out of the room on that one. That was tough. That was really tough. And the very next play, Isaiah Stewart seals him. Cade throws it over. Stewart wide open. And then the next play was Cade Cunningham gets a wide open 3 on an RJ Barrett. RJ Barrett gets screened off, doesn't recover in time. Cade gets a wide open screen. And then, the RJ Barrett defensive disaster class continues. And I thought this was, I thought all of his defensive possessions. Let me throw RJ a bone here. Okay. Hold on. Let me throw something here. I thought RJ Barrett tried. It wasn't a lack of motor. He was revving up. He was trying to get in his stance. He's trying to get his hands active. He's trying to poke at the ball a little bit. He's trying to shuffle his feet. He's just not capable. Like, I'm sorry to say, he's too close. He needs to learn to study these angles. He needs to become a student of the film. You cannot just instinctively try to shut down the water on some of these guys. They're too good. Offense always has an advantage in the NBA. Defense has to be so good. It's damn near impossible. I watched Cade Cunningham cook OG Anunoby in his rookie year or in his second year last year or the year. No, I think it was his second year. And I was like, wow. You know what I mean? Like the offense really does have the advantage. We saw, Darius Garland do whatever he wanted against the Raptors in the last game against Cleveland. So, it's tough. It's going to be tough to stop even a player like Tobias Harris. So I don't even think it's that great. But I mean, he's better than this. You can't guard him like this. Why are you so tight? Give him some space, man. Trust yourself a little bit. You got a 6'10 wingspan. You got to trust yourself a little bit, or 6'9 wingspan. And it's like you're completely flat-footed here, which is terrible. You're sideways. How do you hope to recover? How the hell can you this is the worst defensive stance in the history of the world, okay? And you give up a wide open. This is insane. Like that's just the worst defense he played all night was there. So it's not for lack of trying, right? Now here, you're going to see this play where IQ makes up his mind the minute he catches the ball. He's like, I'm scoring this. I'm shooting this. And this is what a point guard never does, okay? A point guard would look up right now, see Scotty has Cade. He's ahead of Cade. Cade does not catch up to Scotty. So Scotty beat Cade down the court. I'm sorry they didn't show that or I didn't capture it. But Scotty's ahead of Cade here. Cade is going to try to get up to Scotty because he sees the advantage because Cade is apparently reading the floor a little bit better than Emmanuel Quickley here. But Emmanuel Quickley doesn't throw this pass to Scotty. And it's like, dude, you've got like the biggest passing target here. Cade is not going to cut this off. Just throw it towards the rim. Scotty's going to get it. But it's like you don't try this pass because you want to play it safe, because you think that you're going to be able to cook, Tim Hardaway Jr., and then you throw up this shot. And I'm not even mad at that shot. It's like an open floater. Emmanuel Quickley is obviously very, very good from the floater range, but it's just like you have a wide open Scottie Barnes in the corner. Cade has turned his back to him. You're down 6 points. A 3-pointer helps you way more than a floater right now. So if you're going to take the shot, you better make the shot. And he didn't. So anyways, that's the film. We got a caller, Elijah the accountant. So give me 1 second, Elijah. Hold on, we got private chat here. What's going on here? You got laugh emojis. Okay, so just summarize this game in a nutshell. I am not upset. Are you guys upset? I hope you're not upset. There's nothing to be upset about. The Toronto Raptors have the second worst record in the league. Tied. We are tied. And that will, believe it or not, come into factor when you start winning games later. It is very, very important to realize that this season is not about playoffs, playing, whatever. Now, I was on the Raptor space earlier and someone said, how do you know it's going to get better next year? How can you say it's going to get better next year? People have an assumption that if you're 8-30, 8-31, that you're an 8-31 team. Well, let me ask you a question. Actually, this brings me back to something that I, watched in a TV sitcom. This is not from my life. This is a TV sitcom. And I remember there was this TV show, Boy Meets World, long, long time ago. I remember watching it, and Eric, who's the older brother in that show, and he's working as a security guard. And he has this coworker who's also working as a security guard, but apparently he's a doctor from back home and or from from Iran or some other country, and he's come over there and he's putting himself through school and he's a security guard. And so he's like, why would you choose to be a security guard? He's like, no, I'm a doctor. Like, I'm a security guard right now, but I am a doctor. Like, and soon the world will know it. And I know it's a really cheesy message to bring up right now, but this is a 500 team. And soon the world will know it. Okay? So I don't necessarily think that you need to get washed up into, oh my God, it's so bad. It's going to be bad forever. No, man, the Raptors are doing a lot of self-inflicted damage. Some self-inflicted damage tonight is as follows. Chris Boucher was cooking. If you leave Chris Boucher in the game, they were leaving him open. They couldn't control him on the glass. He was running the court. They didn't really have an answer for him. The only answer for Chris Boucher was Darko putting him on the bench. Okay? We are bad by design. Now, let's say, for instance, you're a basketball player. I've used this analogy before. Let me use it one last time. You're a basketball player, and I put 50-pound ankle weights on your feet. How fast are you now? You're not very fast. You're not very fast. You're carrying around these 40, 50 pounds of ankle weights. Let's just say 25 on each foot. I don't even think that's healthy. I wore 10-pound, 15-pound ankle weights. And shit, it's heavy. It slows you down a little bit. It makes you a little bit slower laterally. But it's forcing some growth of muscles, And so does that mean you're going to be slow forever? Does that mean your feet are going to be heavy forever? No. You just take the ankle weights off. The Raptors are playing lineups that are designed to lose. That's all it is. There's no way in hell if you're trying to win a basketball game. Now, what would happen if the Detroit Pistons were trying to lose this basketball game? Easy peasy. Cut Cade's minutes. Put Cade on the court with no help, no shooters. Well, now you could lose all the games because he has no space to attack. There was a particular post up where Scotty turns around and he hits some sort of hook shot, right? And Jack Armstrong brought it up to his credit, where he said Kelly Olynyk and Emmanuel Quickley were on that side of the court, so the Pistons couldn't double. And that's perfectly right. You need shooters around him. You need consistent spacing around him. Playing with Jakob Poeltl, playing with Bruce Brown, playing with non-shooters like RJ Barrett, etc. This is only hurting Scotty. Of course, it's hurting Scotty. It's making it much easier to game plan against him. Playing two non-defenders at all times with no real rim pressure or no rim presence behind them, and a scheme which is designed to basically deliver blow-bys. You're training here. That's all you're doing. You're training. This is not real life. So please stop thinking that the Raptors are some 8-31 garbage team. They are not. It might be the best 8-31 team ever. Well, if you're really sad about it, I got great news for you. He doesn't. Jesus Christ. Okay, Elijah, what's up?
Yo, what it do?
What's up?
Listen. Yo, I'm not even trying to troll you. But I hope you realize, like, when you go on these little rants about contextualizing the situation for Scotty, and then you go on your TL and you like legit write paragraphs on paragraphs of lies about other players, it gets
What
really
lie?
weird.
What lie? What
For
lie?
example, I'm answering. For example, you call Cade a liability on defense, and
He
I
is.
mean he's not, though, in any sense of the word, especially for the Pistons. If you want an example, uh, obviously he's not always put in a POA role, but he usually holds his own against his own position. But did you know that the Pistons they give up 4% less offensive rebounds when he's on the floor versus off the floor, and they give up 5% less rim attempts when he's on the floor versus off the floor. Does a really good job at adding on the boards, boxing out, and he does a really good job as a help side defender.
Tell me I lied again. Look at the screen and tell me I lied.
Yo, I'm not gonna lie. You actually have to present information that kind of, goes against what I said, and not just show me DBPM and
You didn't
craft
see the
NBA
film. You didn't
stats.
see you didn't see the film session.
Nah,
You didn't see the
I
lazy
actually
closeouts.
watched it. Yeah, I actually watched the Pistons. The film is pretty kind on him, and the numbers. You're using this, but you do realize he has a positive defensive EPM, right? Like and he has a positive D LeBron. It's almost like you're only looking at the metrics that imply he's a negative, which is what we call a bias.
He is a negative.
And then you also brought up like how he like isn't able to create separation or whatever. But like, do you think that Scotty's a standout half court scorer?
He's been better around 16 feet for his entire career so far. Cade has been terrible. He's
What
a
does
below
that
the
What
rim
does that
finisher.
mean right now? They're the exact same efficiency. More of
No,
Cade's
what?
right
How
now.
the fuck are they? How the hell are they the exact same
55 true
efficiency?
shooting percentage and 55 true shooting percentage, bro. What are you saying right now?
Okay, and one of those players is shooting what from three, and the other one is shooting what from three. The other one is shooting what from the free throw line.
Are you punishing the nigga for actually making his threes? Like, what? This doesn't even make no sense.
Of course, it doesn't make sense. A lot of things don't make sense. Quantum physics doesn't make sense to me either because I don't know jack shit about quantum physics. You know what I mean? So clearly, my basketball analysis is not going to make
You
a lot of
just
sense to
said
you either.
no. You just said who is making their threes more, who is hitting their free throws more. Like nigga,
Bro,
those are positive things. It's a good thing. It's a good thing to hit your threes. It's a good thing to hit your free throws. I'm confused on what points you're making.
Scotty's had 3 injuries this year. He has worked his way back from injuries. Scotty is working with worse spacing than.
I don't think you ever brought up injury for Cade coming off of.
Of course, I brought up injuries.
The year before. No, you
didn't. Of course, I brought up injuries. Yes, I have.
You didn't
once again, you lie.
You made definitive statements.
You lie. You're a liar. You're a liar. You're a liar. I've always brought up injuries with Cade, and I've considered him pretty injury prone through his first 2 years. Are you a fan of the panel? Do you watch the panel?
Am I a fan of the panel?
Do you watch the panel?
Few times,
I mean, do you watch it? That's all I'm asking. I don't give a shit if you're writing love letters and fan mail to the panel. You watch it, right? So you saw me a few days ago or a few weeks ago say Cade's played like an all-star, that he deserves it, that he's not just an injury replacement, that he deserves to be an all-star. You saw that?
I mean,
straight face. I said it.
All of that is pretty hollow when you get on Twitter and you say that he's a negative defender, despite the fact that there are plenty of things that indicate he's not that. And then
he's not.
Based on what though?
Based on
other than
who
craft
he's been. Bro, I don't think you understand crafted. I don't think you understand crafted. It is using a lot of models that you are relying on. I'm talking about who he is as a defender positionally. I'm talking about his point of attack defense. I'm talking about his lateral quickness. I'm talking about his recovery. I'm talking about his off-ball defense. Bro, you gas everyone gasses up.
Off-ball defender.
He is not a positive off-ball defender.
He makes smart rim rotations consistently. He is able to box out. He's able to consistently communicates weak side. Consistently. He's actually he's probably the only Piston that consistently does that. Like, and I literally have given you information that implies that, little bro. But let's actually go down the line. Like you were talking about how like Scotty is in a shooting slump. Like you can't say that somebody shooting 29% on volume is in a shooting slump when their career 31% on less volume. Like,
see, this is why I know you're dumb.
He had an outlier shooting season last year. It's okay to say that.
Okay. I'm gonna ask you to shut the fuck up and let me talk. All right, this is not your show. This is my show. So hear me out when I say this.
Yo, I'm not gonna lie.
How many games?
You don't got the power just because you said shut the fuck up. And when you say it in a little accent, like you kind of sound like I'm not trying to even disrespect you, but you kind of sound like a bitch. Like, why is you even trying to speak up to a nigga like that? Like, let's be serious. You're not that type of nigga. You're not that type of nigga, Pen. And I'm not no cash out type nigga. I'm really calm. I'm just letting you know. Like,
you're calm. You're dumber than fuck. Yo, have you how many games of Scotty have you
really
watched
sound uncomfortable talking like this. You really sound uncomfortable. Like you're dumber than fuck.
You think I'm uncomfortable?
Shut the fuck up. Like, come on, little bro.
You're like
stuttering. You don't talk to niggas like this in real life.
When did I stutter? Yo, I
just
I don't talk
right
to people like this.
Benjamin, you just stuttered. Okay, I'm gonna go on mute. I'm gonna go on mute because I don't know if you have like a speech impediment or if you're just stuttering because you're nervous. I'm gonna let you get your little take off, but like let's calm down. Let's sound out our words.
Let me get my take off. I know you wouldn't be talking to me like this in person, bro. I know you wouldn't be talking like this shit in person.
Ping, you're 5'11". What?
So what? So what?
Scared. Nobody's scared of you.
Because I'm 5'11", you're not scared of me.
Like,
you're not scared of me because I'm 5'11". What are you, 6'2"?
You're 5'11", 150 pounds, Pen. Nobody's scared.
I'm 150.
Let's just talk about basketball.
How'd I lose all that weight, bro? How'd I lose all that weight? How'd I lose all that weight? Am I on that Ozempic shit that I lost 30 pounds like that?
Damn, you're mad as fuck.
Of course I'm
just
mad.
Go ahead, bro. I'm trying to let you talk, bro.
You trying to let me talk, bro? No, you know what? You dumb as fuck. Have you seen the types of threes that Scotty's taking? This is the first time in his life that he has taken threes like this. He's not a self-generator. He's not someone who has ever had this type of primacy. If you watch Cade when he was 16, if you watch Cade when he was 18, 19, 20, he's had the ball in his hands his whole life. He's been doing dribble pull-ups, mid-range turnarounds. Yo, shut the fuck up. Let me talk, man. You're like a bitch. Like, you're like a real bitch.
You don't even sound comfortable saying that word, Pen. Come on, let's be serious.
I don't sound comfortable calling you a bitch. I think I called you a bitch 4 times.
And you think do you feel like a man after doing that, Pen? I know you don't feel that way very often, but like after you said that right there, did you feel like more of a man, or like, you feel me? You gotta say a little bit more.
I'm so sick of you, man. I am so sick of you. You like the worst
Go
caller.
ahead,
You going the
Pen.
worst caller Hall of Fame. You like
Pen,
you.
Pen, just finish. Go ahead.
Are you from
Explain.
Detroit?
Am I from Detroit?
Are you from
Sure.
Detroit?
Yeah. What about Detroit?
I'm
What
just
about the three?
asking.
What about the
I'm trying to
313?
get to know you. You're from Detroit?
Nah.
No, you're not from Detroit. All right,
Nah.
cool. Where are you from?
Me?
Mm-hmm.
Wisconsin. Green Bay.
Oh, you're from Wisconsin. All right. Now I understand. All right. That's why you are the way you
Nigga,
are.
you never stepped foot in Green Bay, Wisconsin. Like, what the fuck? Nobody has. That's how I know you just saying shit. But like, go ahead. Like, tell me how. Pen, wait. In all seriousness, you do realize like the arguments that you're presenting, like how Cade has had a sense of primacy, how Cade is used to taking off the dribble jumpers, and how he's been more efficient on them than Scotty. Like, all of that's a positive for Cade. Like, that's not a negative. Like, I get you trying to add context, but it's like the context you add and not really helping your argument. Like, feel me?
Okay. I'm going to ask you to stop talking and let me get my take off. And if you're not going to stop talking, you're going to leave. All right. I'm going to try to be a little bit more respectful because honestly, I'm getting a little bit out of line. And honestly, this is not entertaining for my audience. My audience is not you. My audience is not your
The
audience.
chat going
Frankly,
crazy, low key.
cool. Let just let me get my point off, or you're going on mute, okay? Because every time I get 2 sentences off, you're like, you know, like you just can't shut up. Like I know people like you have like ADHD or some shit. You just need to let someone talk. Because
You
I
can
did
see
let
on
you talk.
screen my mic is muted, bro. Just begin your point. Like,
Cool. So Scotty has not been a high volume 3-point shooter at any point. Anytime you try to initiate a new part of your game, you're going to struggle. Anytime. Cade is doing what he's done his whole life, which means he has a lot of reps at it. And you know how you get better at things? You do reps at it. If you want to become a better anything, you want to become a better welder, better painter, better whatever, you're going to get better after 10,000 hours of it. Scotty has never had this type of load, this type of creation responsibilities, frankly, ever. Not at any point. Not EYBL, not Montverde, not for the Sharks, not at FSU, not in his first 2 years where he was playing like a role player for the Raptors. Last year, you're talking about Scotty's 3-point shooting. Let me tell you about Scotty's 3-point shooting. Scotty was a catch and shoot guy last year. Most of his threes were catch and shoot threes last year, and a lot of them were assisted. You know how much more difficult it is to take threes off the dribble? You know how much more difficult it is to make threes above the break, 28, 29 feet, pull up in transition off your own movement versus to catch and shoot threes that other people are creating for you. Now, Cade generates his own offense. Kudos. That's his billing. Cade was brought into Detroit as the franchise savior. Nobody was calling Scotty a franchise savior when he came here. People said, stand in the corner, maybe hit a couple threes, maybe you come off the bench, you'll be a fifth option. The expectations were wildly different for these types of players. However, this year, Scotty has taken on a new role, and his role has changed several times throughout the year. He's been a starting point guard. Did you see his numbers as a starting point guard when he had those goggles, when he came back from that injury? He was going crazy. He was putting up like 14 assists, 13 assists, 12 assists, and people were saying, holy shit, we watching Magic Johnson here? He was doing things that he's never done before. And you want to talk about self-generation and all that stuff? Yo, Cade is a below the rim finisher. Scotty is an above the rim finisher. Scotty is 6'8" with a 7'4" wingspan. Cade ain't ever going to be that size. So when I'm talking about playoffs, when I'm talking about when defenses tighten up, it matters a lot to me that I have the bigger playmaker, the bigger play finisher, and the more versatile defender. If I put these two players on Boston, I know which one of these two players is going to help winning more, because one of these players can actually play a third option role, and one of them can only play first option, because Cade does not do the 3-and-D thing well. Now, Cade is shooting very well from 3 this year. Congratulations. He did not shoot well the first few years. He started shooting really well last year, and I gave him credit for that. He was shooting much better from mid-range, and then this year came along, he's shooting better from mid-range. Scotty's shooting better from mid-range this year than Cade. Way better from mid-range. But you don't want to acknowledge that. For inside 16 feet, 10 feet to 16 feet. And that's not something, and that's not something that was supposed to happen.
You never asked me about that.
So what I'm trying to say is, look, every
do you
player
think
comes
Scotty's
in,
a better mid-range shooting Cade just because he's shooting, I think is 57% from 10 to 16? Like, do you have to recognize the degree of difficulty, how they're off the dribble versus on the dribble? As a matter of fact, if you want to compare actual like on-ball play types, did you know that Scotty, relative to the rest of the league and PNR, like PNR as a scorer, right? We're not gonna isolate just we're isolated just as a scorer. He's 267 in pick and roll efficiency as an isolation score, or as an isolation score. I meant to say he's 231st as a like a isolation score. The year before, he was also very low, like just not great isolation score consistently, or a great in general on ball score. We all know that, which he doesn't necessarily have to be,
Cool.
but
So
it is
here's
a
my
point.
question for
It
you.
is a point in the eight.
If I told you that the next,
you just talked for 8 straight minutes, bro. I get it's your show. Like,
I didn't talk for 8 straight minutes, and people here,
you know what an exaggeration is?
I don't deal well with exaggerations.
Okay. So you're acknowledging that Kade is a better off the ball scorer, right? You agree. It's also the better playmaker, right?
He's not the better playmaker.
There's based on what?
Based on the fact that Scotty has wider, he has cleaner passing angles. He turns the ball over less, and I believe that the potential assists. Scotty has 13 potential assists per game. Luka has 12.9. So relative to his talent that is actually around him,
you know, Kade has 21 potential assists per 100 possessions, which is like top 7 in the league.
Cool.
And
how many turnovers?
I'm confused.
How
like
much
that
spacing?
That comes with being a high value. That comes with being a high value playmaker. You realize, right? Is Scotty a better playmaker than Ja Morant? Ja Morant has a higher turnover percentage.
Please don't put Ja Morant and Cade Cunningham in the same conversations. They are not comparable players.
Based on the metric that you use, they are. You just brought a potential assist. They have a similar number.
Yeah, and how does Cade finish around the rim? What kind of rim pressure is Cade putting?
He put
rim Ja Morant.
No, he actually pressures the rim. Just you're right. He doesn't finish consistently, but he is pressuring the rim.
He doesn't finish consistently.
He's top 5 in the league. He's top 5 in the league in drives per game. By the way, like you said, he doesn't finish. I can actually acknowledge his weaknesses, unlike your ability with Ja. But in terms of rim drives per 75, he averages almost.
You mean Scotty?
He averages almost twice as many drives per 75. So as a on ball rim gravity generator than Scottie Barnes, for example. So I don't even know why you brought up rim pressure and just brought up finishing. You can pressure the rim and not be an elite finisher. You realize that, right?
So here's the thing.
Because Ja Morant is also a poor finisher percentage-wise.
Not even close to Cade. Okay. Like let's not compare superstars to sub all-stars. Okay. Like let's not do that.
Yeah, Cade, you literally just said Cade is a deserving all-star. Now you're changing it up. Confucius.
I'm saying he's played like an all-star this year. I think he's going to be a 3 to 4 time all-star. I did not see 3 to 4 time all-star coming into this season. Congrats, kudos where kudos are due. Okay, he's played better. He has Tobias Harris around him. I don't even think Tobias Harris is that good, but damn, he's better than Grady Dick right now, isn't he? I mean, when Cade was carrying bum rosters, what do these numbers look like? Was Cade cooking last year? Or y'all were the league's worst team, the biggest embarrassment, bottom record. But now you're in the play-in and you got some energy about you. You got some energy now.
I'm confused.
You're like, damn, we're nice.
You were literally running laps when the comparison was third option Alec Burke in comparison to OG Anunoby. Like, I'm confused on what point you're making. Also, pointing out Kade's ISO PPP is true, but K is also a more efficient pick and roll score, a play type that you have to bring up. You can't just look at one play type. I brought up 2 play types where Scotty struggles.
Let me show you Scottie Barnes last year versus Cade this year. Okay, and this is again.
If you're just gonna show me box score numbers, we got way better data than just box score numbers, little bro. We gotta.
I'm gonna ask you one more time. Don't call me little bro one more time. I'm not your little bro. We don't know each other. Don't talk to me like you know me. Okay.
We got way better numbers, Benjamin. Is that better? Like, are you just insecure? What does little bro change? But I got you. I don't gotta demean you if you feel like that's demeaning you to beat you in an argument. But she constantly tries to do the same. It's kind of crazy.
It's kind of crazy. Okay, so here's the thing. What numbers here are suggesting to you that Cade is a way better player? He has a 3% worse. He has a 1% worse true shooting percentage. He's a worse rebounder. His turnover rate is higher. His usages, I mean, their roles are different. What are we doing here? And yet their scoring is not that different. If I told you coming into the draft that the next Draymond Green is going to be scoring almost as many points on his career as the next Luka Doncic, I think you might say there's something wrong with the comparison.
You keep bringing up the next Draymond Green, like your argument is literally
what was Scotty's pre-draft?
You're only
what was his pre-draft comp?
I understand what you're saying,
What was
but
he
why
supposed to be?
you genuinely keep bringing up pre-draft
Yes,
in terms of
because it
expectations
highlights
to
where
make
these
your
two
point about
careers are
right
going.
now. To make your point about right now, like you're not
I'm sorry.
really. You're
If
not
you're
efficiently
actually a
making your
Pistons
point
fan,
about
are you
right now.
saying that the night
Because
that
you
the
realize you use these numbers, but if we look at the impact month,
I'm gonna put you on mute so I
why?
can talk, bro.
Go ahead.
Just
My
stop.
fault.
On the night that Cade Cunningham was drafted, based on all the hype, based on #1 player in the country, based on freshman of the year, based on clearly the #1 pick, all that stuff. Are you telling me 4 years into that experiment that you are impressed that he has exceeded your expectations so far? Has he exceeded your expectations? Let's have a real talk right now. Has he exceeded your expectations, or has he underwhelmed your expectations?
I mean, as he
Y'all
has
finished with the
exceeded
bottom
them.
record 2 years in a row. Worst team in the league.
The first year you're talking about, he barely played. The second year,
True.
yeah, he had what relative to what I thought he could be. He
Sorry, you
was pretty poor. But I
okay,
mean,
cool.
ever since
So 4 years
about
into
January of 2024 to now,
Mhm.
he's basically what I thought he would be around year 3. This is basically his 3rd year. Like,
Would
so
you agree with the statement that he's one of the worst #1 picks of all time? One of. I'm not saying Michael Olowokandi, Andrea Bargnani. I'm not saying Kwame Brown. I'm saying like relative to the expectation of 2021 is like one of the best draft classes ever. This is the best player in that draft class. Would you concede that he's one of the worst?
what does one of even mean? No, I wouldn't.
Is he one of the best?
No.
Okay. Would you take him #1 in a redraft?
I'd probably take Mobley.
Who would you take second?
Him or Franz.
So you would take Scotty 4th, 5th, 6th, something like that?
I mean, Scotty's cool. He's a good player. Not arguing against that. You could obviously argue Sengun over him. So there's
Sure,
that.
I could hear the argument for Şengün. I could hear the argument for Franz. I could hear the argument for Mobley. I won't agree with it, but I can hear it. I cannot hear the argument for Cade though.
You realize, wait, you brought up all these box score numbers, but you realize Cade's, because this was a number you brought up a little bit last year. You know, Cade's EPM this year is a point higher than Scotty's was last year per 100 points. Okay, and I think that like they have similar impact metrics, like or the impact metrics are in Cade's. What's the word I'm looking for? Advantage.
Okay, but
generally,
how
this
about?
year in comparison to
But
last
hang
year.
on. What about Scotty prior to December 31st? I don't think you want to look at those numbers because with Pascal and with OG,
Pascal and OG, do you think Tobias? So do you think that Tobias Harris and Isaiah Stewart are Pascal Siakam and OG Anunoby, or the situation
no,
now not matter?
I think collectively, when you look at the Raptors' depth last year, when you look at the fact that they had very little coming off the bench, that they had these transitionary lineups, they were playing Malachi Flynn and Jalen McDaniels. I don't think you realize how bad the lineup Scotty played with last year, where he was routinely carrying a bench with 4 scrubs, 2 of whom aren't even in the league anymore. Do you know how many? Okay, here's a fun fact for you. I don't think you know this.
I know the situation.
How many
got.
Hang on, hang on one second. I'm gonna ask you a question. I just want your estimate. I'm gonna ask you a question, and I'm gonna ask you for an estimate. Hang on one second. How many players? How many roster players did the Raptors have last year? How many players on their active roster did they have last year? I want you to understand like the hell of a roster that Scotty had. How many roster players? Just guess. Give me a over 25, under 25. How many players do you think they had?
You want me to guess?
Yeah.
Let's go with 27.
27. They had more. Okay. This is all the players that were on the Raptors last year. This is the number of players they played. I'm going to highlight the players who are no longer in the NBA right now. DJ Carton is no longer in the NBA. Javon Freeman's not in the NBA. Malachi Flynn's no longer in the NBA. Ron Harper's no longer in the NBA. Mohamed Ugay is no longer in the NBA. Kira Lewis not in the NBA. Jalen McDaniels not in the NBA. Marquise Noel not in the NBA. Jordan Nwora not in the NBA. Jonte Porter not in the NBA. We know why. Jamias Ramsey not in the NBA. Who else? Kobe Simmons not in the NBA. Malik Williams not in the NBA. Thaddeus Young not in the NBA. So basically half the roster. Okay. Now I want you to tell me how many. Hang on. Let me speak. How many players on the current Pistons
Kira
roster?
Lewis played 2 minutes for the Raptors. Ron Harper played 4. Marquise Noel played 4. DJ Carlton played 36.
Cool. Yo, I'm keeping it even. Tell me how many players on the Pistons that y'all gonna play this year that even 1 minute are not gonna be in the league next year.
Yeah, they're a playing team now. I'm confused. They're like a positive record now, though.
Positive record. Okay, cool. So that's what I'm trying to tell you. There is a gap. Scotty played with a terrible shooting Siakam who was pouting and trying to push his way out. Siakam was shooting, I think, 17 to 20% from 3.
Wait. So you genuinely think that the Raptors in the beginning of last season are a worse supporting cast? The Raptors before the trades are a worse supporting cast than the Pistons are right now?
I think the lineups Scotty played with are worse than the lineups Cade played with. That's a different question. If Scotty goes out at the 4-minute mark, Siakam and OG carry a load for 4 minutes, and Scotty comes in with Jalen McDaniels, Precious Achua, Chris Boucher. Yeah, I do think those players are worse. If Scotty's playing the bulk of his minutes,
do you genuinely not think Cade carries bench units, especially right now? He literally just did it last night.
Of course he does. I just don't think your bench units are as sorry as Malachi Flynn. And by the way, you would know Malachi Flynn was on your team last year too, and he put up 50 for y'all.
I don't know why you keep. I'm not a. Okay, yeah, sure. Yeah, Malachi Flynn is not good. I agree with you, but you're ignoring a pretty big difference in wing talent when those guys are on the court, and you're definitely ignoring Elijah Def Somalian. I'm not. That got to be racist. Not East African at all. There's nothing wrong with being East African though. But
I never said you were East African.
Somebody in the chat did. It's cool though, but if you're arguing that the situation is worse, I think that's exaggeration. But even if it is an exaggeration, to this point, he's produced better on court on off results than Scotty last year, which isn't everything.
No, the Raptors were hold on, they were 9-11 through their first 20 games. What was the Pistons record through the first 20 games of this year? Before the Raptors started tearing it down last year, they had enough of a proof of concept. Scotty lit up Wemby in the game against the Spurs. He lit up the Boston Celtics. He had a lot of good games. He had a 7 for 15 3-point shooting game. I mean, shit. Scotty showed a lot last year. I mean, he didn't make All-Star by fluke, you know? I mean, he genuinely played better than Cade has played to date. Now, you might see it as different because you're valuing certain things that I'm not valuing as much. You might value the creativity and the wiggle of Cade's game. I'll never, ever disagree that Cade has a better handle than Scotty. I know Cade has a better handle than Scotty. I know Cade has more counters than Scotty. I know Cade has more balanced footwork than Scotty. But what Scotty has,
you apparently don't know that he's a better playmaker though, because
he's not a better playmaker. He's not a better passer. He doesn't see the game like Scotty.
Why is he not a better? I asked you why he wasn't a better playmaker, and then you brought up potential assists, and then I brought up how Cade is one of the top players in the league in potential assists per 100, and then you brought up turnovers
because he handles the ball.
And then I brought up. And then I brought up John Morant, and you were like, not the same universe. In the same stats you just brought up, you realize Cade has a higher potential assist per 100.
Just because my argument doesn't make sense to you,
John Morant has a higher. Let me finish. And John Morant has a higher turnover percentage. Is Scottie Barnes a better playmaker than John Morant?
Scottie Barnes a better playmaker than John Morant? Yes.
Yeah, you got it. You got it. There's nowhere else to go with the conversation. If that's genuinely what you think, I mean, then he should probably be leading better half court units, even when the situation is as poop as it is, which I can acknowledge is poop. But it's poop, and all of his impact indicators are also poop. So if you're gonna sit here and argue
his impact indicators are poop
currently,
what's poop? What are you talking about? I mean,
relative to where he was last year.
But the concept that is so lost on you. Have you ever played? You play basketball, right? I'm assuming you've played basketball in your life, right?
I'm pretty sure I played it at a higher level than you did. But
how small are you? No, for real. How small are you? Everything you got to flex a little bit. What's your issue? I'm asking you a genuine question. If you play basketball, because it pertains to what I got to say next. But you got to be like, I played at a higher level than you.
I'm confused. Like, I'm confused on what point.
Did I say I was? Did I say I was a D1? Did I say I played Olympiacos?
Huh? But I'm just saying, if you've played basketball, like, what point are you trying to make when you say that, bro? Like,
I'm asking you a fucking question. You got like real social issues, bro. Like, you don't understand how to.
Yo, you genuinely have been so upset during this conversation. Like,
yeah, I'm upset. It's upsetting to talk to stupid
you're mid-30s,
bro.
It's genuinely let's calm down. This isn't your whole life.
What are you in your mid-teens?
It doesn't matter.
Well,
Mid-teens, what does that mean? 15, 14? No. But
17, 18?
It doesn't
Am I conversing with a child here? Is this
18,
going to
19, 18, 19, you'd realize that's not mid-teens, right? That goes against what you just said. But let's continue. Yes, I played basketball before. We're literally two people talking about the sport. I'm sure we both played the sport like at one point.
Okay, great. So what was your strength as a player? What was your go-to? And what was your biggest weakness?
Let's say passing. And let's say
your strength was passing?
Pull up three. Let's say pull up three.
What was your weakness? Pull up three?
Let's say pull up three.
Were you a catch and shoot guy?
Sure.
Cool. Okay, so let's say you had a coach who is one of the most esteemed development coaches in the league and decided, you know what, we're going to throw this season anyway. We're going to play some really funky lineups. We want you to do what you're bad at. And we don't want you to do anything you're good at. So you know that corner that you shot 39% from last year? You're not shooting from there anymore. You know that zone that you're super efficient at the rim? We don't want you shooting there anymore. We want you to work 10 to 16 feet. We want you to work 16 to 24 feet. We want you to work above the break. We want you taking distance threes. We want you taking logo threes. We want you to pull up. We want you to do it self-generated. We can generate easier offense for you.
Are you saying there was a specific corner that he shot 39% in, or are you saying he shot 39% from both corners?
Early on in the season, up until the Raptors tore it down. No, hang on. 32 games is a pretty large sample size. I'm pretty sure that's about the sample size that you're using on Cade Cunningham right now, right? So 32 games into last season, Scottie Barnes was shooting 39%, period. He was shooting 39% from three, period. Okay. So that's 32 games on 6 attempts, I think, per 100 possessions. If I'm not mistaken, it was a lot. Okay. Like I could literally pull up the numbers right now, but like he was, it's not high volume. Obviously, I could say high volume.
Last year, the corner three you brought up, 15% of his attempts came from corner three. He shot 36%. This year is lower, sure, 11%, 27%. So he's also shooting worse on the corner. The year before it was 32%. So he seems, and granted, his rookie year he shot a decent percentage at 37%, which is still below league average in the corner. But it seems like he's just the up and down corner 3-point shooter. And in terms of every other aspect of shooting, it seems like it's mostly been down, and it was one season of up. You brought up his free throw percentage. Yes, it's been.
You're looking at total seasons, and I'm looking at intervals. That's the problem. Like when one person regularly follows a particular player, watches their games, breaks down every single game, and the other person looks at data sets, there's going to be a really big divide in how we're talking about these two players. So you could say Scottie's really bad from three or whatever. You could say he was bad, but I can tell you there's a 2-month sample where he shot 40% from three, and that's very encouraging.
Yeah, but with something like 3-point percentage, 2 months is not valuable. That's why, like Kade,
I'm gonna need you to stop. You seem to think that I'm way more interested in what you got to say than I actually am. So I'm gonna need you to stop. Okay, what I'm trying to say is, when you are evaluating young players, you need bursts. You need moments.
Make you feel like a man? But I got you. I'm gonna go on mute.
I'm just gonna remove you. Fuck off, man. You're out. Banned. Get the fuck out. Don't ever come back. Banned. Get the fuck out. Okay. Enough of that shit. If anyone else wants to call in, have a civil discussion, we can have a civil discussion. I don't suffer fools. I don't like people like that. I'm gonna be honest. Keep that energy for other people. Don't keep it for me. Now, obviously, I got carried away there for sure. I got out of line. Definitely. Someone's going to clip this and call me unprofessional. It's cool. Nothing I haven't heard about myself before. But let me be clear about something. When you are a player who is trying new things, you're going to struggle. Cade is not trying new things. There's nothing new about what Cade is doing that I haven't seen from him in high school. There's nothing new about him that I didn't see at Montverde. It's the same thing with RJ Barrett. There's nothing really new. When he became a playmaker, a lead initiator, that was new, right? What RJ Barrett was doing earlier in the year when the Raptors were without Scottie Barnes and Emmanuel quickly was new. So when he turned the ball over a lot, you're a lot more forgiving because it's new. Whenever you're trying to expand a player's game, there has to be some adjustment period for new things. Okay. If the Detroit Pistons wanted to run Cade Cunningham as their primary point of attack defender to get him repetitions, they would not be a playing team right now. because he would suffer, because he'd be doing something that's uncomfortable and that he's not good at. Most teams that are trying to win try to put players in positions to succeed. What Elijah and people like Elijah do not understand is the Raptors are not trying to win right now. This is not me coping. This is me telling you for 3 straight months, these lineups, these positions on the court, these rotations, they are all designed to lose. If you caught Masai Ujiri's interview on the Steam Room yesterday, right? If you caught his interview on the Steam Room, he talked about rebuilding. He talked about this being a long process. He talked about the fact that he's never rebuilt before. But the Raptors have their eye on the prize. Okay. They have to keep the main thing. Okay. Moral victory so that I have a foot to stand on with Elijah. Look, I'm not a front runner. I remember, 2-3 hours ago, I was talking all sorts of shit on Twitter, which is why I have invited, unfortunately, a lot of the negativity that is in the chat right now, and I own up to it. I wanted the smoke. I got the smoke. I'm not crying about it. What I'm saying is that I'm not someone who's going to wait for Scotty to have a good game to tell you how good he is. Just like I'm not someone who sold on Grady when he was struggling in the G League last year. When you analyze basketball for a living, or at least partially for a living, you must learn to stand on your gut. You need to learn to stand on business. You need to learn to stand on your evaluation and trust that you are right until you are wrong. Now, my issues with Cade: turnover prone, projectable, somewhat predictable passer, not as tight a handle as I would need from a lead initiator like that. The best version of him is a poor man's Jalen Brunson, maybe Jalen Brunson adjacent with a little bit bigger. That's a pathway to success. That's a pathway to 3, 4, maybe 5 All-Stars. But that's not the upside I see for Scotty. That's not the upside I see for Scotty. I see Scotty as a much greater player than that. And you know what? It doesn't matter if we agree today. We may not agree today. There are a lot of Raptor fans who don't agree with me on this. They're like, yo, Rob, what are you doing? Be ashamed. Be ashamed. You stupid motherfuckers. You want me to be ashamed? Ashamed of what? What's wrong with y'all? There's this person who constantly comments on our fucking videos or on our posts and it's like, have some shame. The Raptors are so bad. They're 8-31. How can you talk about Scotty being great? How can you talk about Emmanuel Quickly and Darko being good? Have some shame. It's like, bro, just because your parents ruined your life doesn't mean my parents had to necessarily ruin mine. Doesn't mean I got to go listen. I got to ruin my life, right? It doesn't mean that. Just because you don't functionally understand patience doesn't mean I have to become as impulsive, as trigger happy as you. Real Talk Step saying, who would be Scotty's ceiling? Well, let me pull up some that I think will paint a picture in terms of how I actually feel about this conversation, because hang on one sec. Let me pull up Instagram. I posted on my stories. This is my pre-draft Scottie Barnes scouting report. Thought it'd be interesting to just take a look at it. I'm gonna have to hold it in place. Hopefully it stays, but give me 1 second here. Okay. Is there a way to pause this? Oh yeah, there is. Okay. So here are IG stories if you're not following us on Instagram. So this is Darko Rakovik saying that, in the last post game, he said, I usually do a pretty good job of seeing the future. I can see Scottie Barnes a couple of years from now averaging a triple-double in this league. I fully concur. I fully agree. And then I said, now this is something I was on. Okay. David C said, Rob said he grew up in public housing. I can hear it. There's some hood in him. There's some hood in me. Okay. I wear it proud. I wear it proud. I never ran away from it. Okay. On one side of this debate, you have casual fans with 2 active brain cells. I think we just met one of them. And the Raptors media. While on the other hand, you have pretty much 14 Hall of Famers, Masai Ujiri, Bobby Webster, Darko Rakovik, and, well, me. So let me explain why this is so hard to see for some people and why it's so easy for some. Hint, it comes down to what you measure and how you measure success and failure. Now, what did you hear when Elijah talked? Makes and misses. Everything was about makes and misses and his feelings. His feelings are irrelevant and makes and misses are irrelevant when you are not trying to do the things that you make more of. Like, if I know, like, for instance, Emmanuel Quickly, am I judging Emmanuel Quickly super hard right now? No, he's adjusting to a new role in the NBA. This is going to be difficult for him because it's not a role that he has necessarily commanded at the NBA level. He's been a backup guard. He played a lot of off ball. They tried a little bit of on ball stuff in his second year and he struggled. They move him back to the off ball stuff. Finishing at the rim is hard. He's been a floater range assassin his whole life. Now Darko is asking him to go right to the paint, and it's breaking a trend. So you gotta give that adjustment period. That's why you don't write off a rookie like Scoot Henderson after 10 games because he struggled hard. You wait a year and a half, and you see if it gets a little bit better. It's the same thing with Scotty. You don't write off Scotty as a first option because the first time he does it, he struggles. Like, damn. Okay. Show you what I mean. So I asked the question, and it's a pretty fucking funny thing that so many people got this wrong. Yo, I was gonna share the results of this poll, but I didn't even want to. It's like awful. Awful. Damn. That's crazy. That's crazy. Okay. So I asked what's greater? 10% of a $500 bill, $500, 20% of 200, 40% of 100, or 80% of $50. A lot of people picked 80% of $50, which is funny because my point was very simple. And what is my point? Would anyone like to articulate what my point is? My point is sometimes, exactly, Spooky Ghostwriter, you are correct. It is clearly 10% of $500. But a lot of people saw the first number and they decided to jump to the 80%. And I don't know why that is, but basically Scotty is like 10% of a $500. You know what I mean? He's that player. And I think subconsciously we are trained to sort of value 80% of $50 more, right? We want the thing that's already done, already polished. We're inherently lazy and we're inherently unimaginative, right? So yeah. Okay. So my point, Scotty was billed as a project, and they were not wrong. The gaps that they said existed in his handle, his shot, his self-creation were all there. We've all seen it. We've all talked about it. He has a high handle. He sometimes lacks the wiggle, the burst, the first step to get downhill. We see that. And when it comes in a really smooth, sort of refined package like Jalen Green or Cade Cunningham, you might be seduced into thinking, isn't that better? Isn't that better? But you don't realize how far Scotty is from his ceiling relative to those other guys because Cade is a lot closer to his ceiling than Scotty is to his. But what they didn't factor for is how much he'll be able to contribute early on in his career through sheer force of will, athleticism, and IQ. And if you're looking at Scottie Barnes as a rookie or as a second-year player, it's all instinct. It's all hustle. It's all rim runs. It's all transition. It's all just basketball IQ, being 6'8", trying his hardest, out competing, out hustling, out offensive rebounding. But in that process, he was working on other stuff. He was trying to help his team win, but he wasn't able to do all the stuff that he was working on in the summer. Sometimes you see him working out in the summer and you're like, damn, where is that midi pull-up? He's not working on it in the game. And the concern under Nick Nurse was, when will he ever have a chance to work on it in the game? Okay. So what do I mean when I say someone is a project? All it means is that they're far from their ceiling. And relative to his draft peers, like Green, Cade, Mobley, he was furthest away from realizing his pure peak. That's why people said he was a project. Some people said, oh my God, we got Bruno Caboclo again. Okay. But 20% Giannis is better than 45% Jabari Parker. And 45% Jabari Parker is better than 55% Smush Parker. You feel me? So that's important. So here's the calculus of player projections in a nutshell. This is how I look at a player. Number one, what's the ceiling? Number two, what's the value of the projected archetype? Cade is the most valuable projectable archetype. Jumbo creators, right? But when you take into account the defensive liability, below the rim finishing, it becomes a little less valuable. Maybe not first overall pick, but maybe fourth overall pick, fifth overall pick. If we could do the redraft, Jalen Brunson definitely goes top 3, right? But there's a reason why Jalen Brunson fell to the second round, because people don't value below the rim finishers the same way. That's why Fred VanVleet went undrafted. People have a tendency to undervalue that. Now, Cade is obviously not undersized like Fred and he's not undersized like Fred and Jalen, Jalen Brunson, but he's definitely undersized relative to Scotty. So when I think about the most valuable archetype, I'm really thinking about Luka plus defense. Damn, like Luka Doncic plus defense, a guy who can carry that kind of load. It just so happens that Luka plus defense shit only existed with LeBron. Maybe Jimmy Butler, a little bit, but like it's really hard to find a player who's really good at all that stuff. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander is one of them. That's the best type of player you want. Other than that, I guess you can invent an archetype like Victor Wembanyama is his own archetype. Real talk, step saying Scotty ain't that though. Respectfully, I disagree. He is that. He is a jumbo creator. He is a guy who can handle a huge load. And he is somebody who is slowly working himself into a lot of self-creation opportunities. So I value the archetype. Where is the player relative to their ceiling? That's all I'm asking. Are you on floor 2 of 85? Or are you on floor 82 of 85? Are you on floor 6 of 10 on a low rise? You know what I mean? Like it matters to me where you're at. What is their realistic chance of actually achieving this projection? I could talk all day about how great Jonathan Bender is, but if he doesn't want it, if he doesn't have the IQ, if he doesn't have the work ethic, if he doesn't have the health, if he doesn't have the gait, if he doesn't have the opportunity, it's not going to happen. So I have to think about what are the realistic chances of achieving that projection. And then if I'm a team, I got to put that player in serious situations where I can help that happen. Maybe that includes G League reps. Maybe that includes special training program. Maybe that includes what the Raptors did with Grady Dick last year, which is like the strength and conditioning program. Everything when it comes to player projections and player, development comes down to what is the ceiling? What type of player are you trying to develop? How can you help them get there? Then I'd ask, what is the floor? What is that floor? What is the worst this can be? Is it as bad as Anthony Bennett? Or at least am I going to get a serviceable role player? You know what I mean? Like Joe Smith was supposed to be way more than he really became, right? Joe Smith was supposed to be a really big deal in the NBA. I'm going to be honest. Like Andrea Bargnani was supposed to be I don't want to say Andrea, but was supposed to be a big deal. You think who was supposed to be a big deal? I guess Cade was supposed to be a big deal. He's not really a big deal. So a side swipe there at Cade Cunningham. But I mean, there are certain players where you're like, damn, they were supposed to be a lot more than this. Sheldon Williams went top 5. Holy shit, in a draft. Josh Jackson went 4th. Josh Jackson? Damn, that feels crazy now. But back then, it felt perfectly coherent. Josh Jackson, 3-and-D wing, super athletic. It made a lot of sense, right? You think about some of these players. Stanley Johnson. That was supposed to be the next Kawhi Leonard, right? So when you think about that, you're like, well, how bad could it be with Stanley Johnson? At the worst, is he going to be a serviceable role player off the bench? I think with Scotty, the floor was relatively high, that a team like the Raptors would naturally prefer a player like Scotty or Evan Mobley, where there's no feast or famine with these guys. Evan Mobley, in the worst case scenario, is like a 12-year starter. Franz Wagner, worst case scenario, 12-year starter, right? Scottie Barnes, worst case scenario, he's like a 3rd, 4th option on a really good team. Aaron Gordon, basically. So there was no real super downside. All there was upside. And now you just got to work at it. And unfortunately, in year 2, Scotty took a huge step back and his role was not expanding. And so, unfortunately, I think they saw that upside kind of going away. And what they realized was there's actually something really huge at stake here. So they traded everybody. Do you know how much Masai Ujiri loves, Pascal Siakam and OG Anunoby? Fred VanVleet, you want a championship with these guys. To trade them away to move on Scotty's timeline, to not trade Scotty for Kevin Durant, you got to understand that as much as he loves those guys, his talent evaluation won out. We are not crazy. Scotty is incredible. Now, here's my pre-draft scouting report on Scottie Barnes. I'm just going to read this out. Player comparison upside, Magic Johnson, Kawhi Leonard. Player comparison downside, Rich Man's Boris Diaw. Okay, I was very, very high on Boris Diaw, but I'm just say this. Strengths. Scotty's a versatile offensive Swiss Army knife with a clear pathway to superstardom. If he falls into the late lottery, because there were some rumors at the time he was going to go 8, 9, 10, he'll have a little less pressure to produce. An elite. I honestly thought Scotty was going to OKC. I was positive that the Raptors were going to fall in the draft. They had the 7th best odds. I'm like, man, I hope he's there. I hope he's there. I hope he's there. But then when the Raptors moved up to 4, I was like, man, I hope that they take him. And I was really happy that they did. But going on. If he falls into the late lottery, he'll have a little less pressure to produce. An elite rebounder who invites contact, relentless driver of success on all levels, probably ready to contribute immediately in a 25-minute per game role, but could fast track this a la Kawhi if he gets reliable from the corners as a catch and shoot deadeye. Shot form isn't broken, just needs repetitions. His feet and hands are all over the place, and he needs to find something comfortable for him. Freaky athlete with great hands. Best attribute is his basketball IQ, jumbo-sized brain, and packed with his very strong athleticism makes him a guaranteed 13 to 15-year starter in the NBA. He's got a lot of fine-tuning to do, but he has every bit of upside. He has every bit the upside Ben Simmons did. Unlike Ben, however, I don't question anything about Barnes' mental makeup. He's got a solid base, a selfless teammate. He's vocal as hell. You can feel his presence in practice. You can hear him screaming in the 17th row. Easily my favorite prospect in this class just because he's a wild card with an insane pure ceiling. Weaknesses. Handle is loose and high, lacks balance on some of his moves, doesn't finish as well as one would want in the paint, often avoiding contact and trying to finish away from contact. Curious to see the measurements because he has some crazy plays defensively, but also sometimes feels a little heavy-footed. Has insanely high center of gravity, strangely weird proportions, strides of a center, playmaking, a basketball IQ of an 80s point guard, and the wingspan and overall size of a modern wing. What is he? People lumped him into Draymond comparisons. This is absolutely insane. He's an above the rim finisher. Draymond was not. His best fit is in OKC, where he can grow into that ideal role and blossom. I fear that a team like Houston or Cleveland might ruin him completely. This is before Cleveland became a good team and Houston became a good team. But yes, his sorry, I can't see that. What the hell did I write here? Something is almost impossible to design. Okay, so I guess his player type is almost impossible to define. That scares some people. So that is my Scotty pre-draft. And in terms of how I feel about those questions that I asked, what's the ceiling, etc., let me just define that as well. What is the ceiling? I think a 10-time All-NBA and a few top 5 MVP finishes. Number 2, what is the value of the projected player archetype? I think he's a jumbo creator, and I think it's 5 stars. Okay, I think he's the best version of that type of player. Obviously, I wish he was a little bit burstier. Sure. A little bit more crafty. Sure. Yeah, I wish he moved around the court like AJ DeBonsa, but you know what? Beggars can't be choosers. The Raptors are very, very blessed. I would definitely consider him one of the top young players in the league. And I think the Raptors are very, very much, very lucky to have him. Where is this player relative to their ceiling today? 40 to 50%. That's what I said. What is the realistic chance of achieving this projection, like the max ceiling? I said 86% certainty. I said 86 instead of 85 because it made me sound a little bit more scientific there. And said, what is their floor? I said 3 to 4 time All-Star. So Cade's ceiling is basically Scotty's floor, in my humble opinion. And what are the alternative pathways to career success does this player have? And I said he has 100 alternative pathways. So to be clear, this is the number I was pointing to, which is the potential assists, which we already talked about earlier. Something that's important. And yeah, talking a lot of shit. Okay. So close that up. It's been a lot of Kade and Scotty talk. Obviously, I can imagine that the chat is going to be full of a lot of like very, very, yeah. David C saying tonight's episode was fun. I love drama. Well, I don't love drama, but I think conversations sometimes need to be had, even if they're really uncomfortable. And maybe this Cade Scotty conversation is uncomfortable because a lot of people for a very, very long period of time have been waiting because they are front runners. They were waiting for Cade to have a good stretch of games so they could talk this shit. And they were waiting for Scotty to have a bad stretch of games. Look, I don't need Franz Wagner to have a bad stretch of games or Alpi to have a bad stretch of games for me to, define their upside or downside. I'm not going to use a bad sample of games to define them. I admitted that I limited Cade's upside a lot last year. I didn't account for just how bad the spacing was and just how bad some of his teammates were, but it's nice to see. It's nice to see him with better talent. And I'm sure with even better talent, it would be even better. It's not going to be Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, though. It's not going to be Luka Doncic. It's not going to be that level, right? And at some point, you do have to ask the question, if the talent is that much better, is he still the best player on the team? Is he the best? Is he the number one option if you have a Jaylen Brown? I don't know. I don't think so. No, hell no. Right. So that's kind of where, you'll go through this a few times. A lot of teams do. and you settle into it, right? If Malik Monk, I'm gonna put it this way. Malik Monk is hella talented. Hella talented. Nobody want to be hearing me say Malik Monk is more talented than Cade Cunningham. But if you watch Malik play basketball, for real, if you watch Malik play basketball, you know that Malik could handle an offense. You know that. Like you'd have to be really dumb not to see that. Last night, without De'Aaron Fox, the Sacramento Kings went into Boston and beat Boston, beat the shit out of them in the fourth quarter. And Malik was a huge part of that. Malik's been a huge part of that. Malik's awesome. A lot of players don't get the advantages that Cade does. A lot of people don't get the opportunity Cade does. The Detroit Pistons are hell-bent on building around this dude, and that's perfectly fine. But if Malik Monk was in place at Detroit, I guarantee you the record doesn't change that much. It just doesn't. Malik's a better, like he's comparable as a passer. He's a way better like downhill type of scorer. Like he's a better athlete. You know what I mean? So it's like it's splitting hairs between these two players. That's what I see him as. I see him as ideally, like if he becomes a much better defender, I could see him being a good second option. If he doesn't become a much better defender, I see him being a great sixth man. That's what I said. Right? I don't care. You think I care? I don't. You know, it's funny. What I came to realize yesterday. So I don't know, like you know, what's the most humbling thing? The most humbling thing for me is sometimes just checking Reddit, and I'll just pencil in, PENSARE Basketball, and I just see what people are saying. I don't have a Reddit account. I don't have burners. I'm not Mars Talk Sports. I don't have any burners. But I'll look at that and I'll see all that vitriol, and I'll see like people like, oh, he yelled at this guest. I guess I did it again tonight. Hell, emotional growth for me. And I was looking at some of those comments, man. There was like a lot of anger there. I was like, oh, he talks shit about Pascal Siakam every day. Ran Fred VanVleet out of town. Only loves Scotty. Only loves this. Only loves that. And it's cool, man. This has been a great exposure therapy for me. You know, like a lot of human beings in my life, when I was young, when I was younger, grade 6, grade 7, grade 8, all the way up until early adulthood, I genuinely worried about what people thought. I mean, I tried not to. I put on a thick exterior, but deep down, of course, I cared. I cared that that girl didn't want to go out with me. I cared that that person didn't want to be my friend. I cared if I got fired. Why do they want to fire me? What's wrong with me? And I think this has been great exposure therapy because I have like close to 100 people tell me every single day that I'm an idiot. If I look at the TikTok comments under that Arvydas Sabonis take, holy shit. So it's been great, you know, and I'm gonna be honest, like it's very liberating. It's very liberating. You will not realize how free your life becomes when you stop obsessing about how people feel about you. You thinking I know or don't know basketball is not taking bread away from my pocket. You're not taking bread off my table. You're not doing anything to me. All you're doing, see, that's why it's so frustrating. It doesn't work. It doesn't work. You call me unprofessional, I stay unprofessional. It doesn't work, right? So that's what I'm trying to say, right? Like in the end, you be you. You let the cards fall where they may, right? Been on the panel now for I want to say 6-7 months, growing with that. We're growing this channel, right? I'm very blessed, very blessed, very blessed. I was thinking about this. I was thinking about this last night for real. How blessed am I that we get to do this? Let me read y'all what I wrote. It was like dub reflection. Hang on a sec. Give me one sec. Okay. I was going to write this as a community post, but here. So this is literally me at 3 a.m. thinking, okay, on this snowy night, I am thankful to this platform and this community. We haven't always agreed, and honestly, I wrote this right after I looked at that Reddit shit because I haven't looked at Reddit for like 5-6 months. And I was like, oh my God, wow. There's like these 2 people that are always trying to defend me. And then there's like 80 people that are saying, nah, bro, fuck this guy. So we pushed hard against a lot of popular trends and figures, which we have. We've called the media batshit crazy. We've called out the management for trading for Jakob Poeltl. We called out Fred for being selfish. We called out Dennis Schroeder for being a media puppet. We've done a lot. We've done a lot. We pushed against everything. We pushed against a lot. Okay. And Probably we've alienated 85% of the Raptors fan base in the process. But I remain so happy for this journey. Does it suck to alienate 85% of your potential demographic? For sure. For sure. I wish there was 1,000 people in here, but I'm very happy with the 300 and 350 people we have. I'm very happy because I think we found the right people. I think we found the people who want honesty and are willing to suffer through a little bit of uncomfortable, performance by me, right? Because certainly this is not my best. I'm not at my best right now. Clearly, this is not the best I can do, right? I'm gonna have these days once in a while. God, I don't have a lot of them. I hope I don't have a lot of them, and all I can do is grow from them and acknowledge them and move on. I've gotten a chance to speak with some of my favorite people in the basketball world because of this platform, and that's the truth, right? I've been paid beyond my wildest expectations for this work. And granted, my expectations were not super high. When you start a YouTube channel, you're not thinking that you're going to be raking in thousands every month. I didn't think that. I did not start this with great expectations at all. I wanted to be good at what I was doing. I thought I had something to say, and I'm very happy that y'all have let me do that. And I can't think of one day where it really felt tedious or pointless. Like it's never felt pointless. It's never been like, oh, okay, I guess it's my job. I guess I got to do it. I mean, some of these games are tough, but I'm happy. I'm happy with the direction this team's going. I'm very happy. I might be the happiest person in Toronto right now. I wish I could go back in time and tell my 7-year-old self that one day I could be blessed with an opportunity to cover my favorite team, cover my favorite player in the NBA as he chases his hoop dreams, and cover my favorite executive in the league as he builds his team to his vision. And frankly, build a better world, because that's what Masai Ujiri is doing. He's building a better world. Okay. I never lose sight of the big picture. And the big picture is I spent half my life dreaming of days like this. So thanks to everyone who made this possible, all the callers, the guests, the content creators who've helped behind the scenes. And there's a lot of you who've helped behind the scenes, the trainers, the scouts, everybody. Okay. The super chatters, the donors, the sponsors. Thank you for letting me do this my way. Thank you very, very much. And I mean this from the heart, for sure. So, okay. Okay. Overall takeaways from this game. Capture the flag. That's my takeaway. Just RJ's got to be better defensively. Grady's got to be better defensively. This is the same thing. It's over and over and over again. We can say this all we want. But the truth is, the Raptors are not even trying to cover for them at this point. They're leaving them on an island. I want you to ask yourself a real question, just in case you think I'm lying. Just in case you like that guy Elijah, just think everything is about wins and losses. Let me ask you a question. If you wanted to win a basketball game, which Raptor would you least want on Cade Cunningham? Go. Let me know. Which player would you not put on Cade Cunningham? And which player would you put on Cade Cunningham? You have a small brain. I don't know. I don't know what else to tell you. Okay. RJ. Exactly. RJ, Grady, IQ. I wouldn't put any of them on. I would have put Scotty, Ochai. I think even Jacoby is a little too small on Cade. Cade's sneaky strong. So I would have put, worst case scenario, I'm putting Bruce Brown. But like most of the time, I'm putting those guys. I put Jonathan Mobo on him. He put him in jail so fast. So fast. What game did you watch? Oh, you were you playing 2K to cope? All right, peace. Banned. I don't like trolls. Okay. So overall, who got the matchup? Until Scotty basically demanded it after Cade got going a little bit, because I don't think Scotty was like, nah, we're not doing this 40-point Cade Cunningham night. I think that it's really important to realize that you easily could have shut the water down on them. Easily. I think I'm not saying like Ochai Agbaji is going to shut down Cade Cunningham, Scotty's going to shut down, but you could have held him to be a lot less effective. And making him effective as a passer, I mean, he's a pretty good passer. You made him look like a great passer because you're helping off one pass away. Like you're not helping off the weak side corner. You're helping literally 8 feet away and you're leaving a guy wide open for 3. And he's just swinging the basketball. Or you're coming off and you're letting a guy cut you back door because you're over helping on the drive and he's just throwing it right over the defense. And by the way, the hands are not up. Obviously, why would the hands ever be up, right? So nobody who ever wanted to win a basketball game would have designed a game plan this way. I think it's very obvious what the Raptors are doing. Credit to the Raptors themselves, though. The players, the individual players. Losing, being this bad, trust me, if you think I'm getting a lot of, pushback on, hey, the Raptors are good, fuck off, this sort of energy that I have right now, I think people expect me to roll over and die. I think people expect me to be like, yo, Scotty's a bum, Grady's a bum. Should I be like that? Or should I just be myself? See, I don't even have a choice. Because if I tried to do the other thing, y'all wouldn't believe me anyway. There's no way in hell that I could say something like that with a straight face without bursting out into laughter. No, man, this team is good. I will 100% guarantee you this team will be good next year. I got bad news for you. Keep hoping. You know what? Honestly, the Detroit Pistons fans, they went through so much last year. I really want I want them to have this. I'm going to be rooting for the Detroit Pistons in the play-in. I hope they make it far. I hope they make it competitive, in the first round when they lose. Everyone call Rob low, bro, when the stream ends. I feel like you're about to get banned too. I don't like your energy. That's exactly it, right? You draft Ron Holland last year. This is bad planning. This is bad planning. Yo, let them have it, man. You know how embarrassing losing that many games is? Last year, the Raptors basically ended the Pistons' suffering, avoided them from basically trading OG Anunoby on the day you're facing the Pistons, losing to the Pistons, and therefore queuing the tank. And now you're almost a full year later, and now you lose to the Pistons again, and now we're having crash outs again. Okay, cool. Look, I think that most people are happy after wins and sad after losses. Y'all watch me in 2023 after wins. Was I happy? Mm-mm. I wasn't happy. Why wasn't I happy? Because I saw that opportunity at that 7'4" alien slipping away from this stupid ass team that refused to tank. And I couldn't get over it. Maybe sometimes being not neurotypical helps because I lack that ability to just be happy because it's your birthday. If I'm not happy, I'm not happy. I'm not happy after wins. Right now, I'm happy all the time. I don't care. This is a season like that doesn't count. But it counts. In one way it counts. It counts that players are getting better. Jamal Shead is getting better. Jonathan Mobile is getting better. Ulrich Shamshay is getting better. Ulrich is amazing. Ulrich is doing really well in the G League. Grady is, for all intents and purposes, he's had some very, very difficult shots this year. He's had an up and down season, but he has been way better than last year, right? RJ's advanced as a playmaker. Great, and Emmanuel quickly, like for all the people, saying like IQ is a bum, he's not worth 32. Wait till like he turns it around. And then you're gonna be like, oh my God, I can't believe this. Wow, he looks like a sub all-star. Give this some time. I pray for you. I pray to you. Give it some time. Give it some time. Give this a moment, please. The Raptors are not that far away. It feels like they are a million miles away right now. Oh my God. Like they're losing to the Pistons. They're losing 10 straight. La, 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 la. This is a team that was like up 6 against the Denver Nuggets and blew it on an RJ game winner. What are we doing here? This is not a team that is attempting even remotely to be super competitive out there. They're not. They're not. They're not trying to do that, and nor should they. I'm very happy about this. I think it was great. If you haven't listened to Masai Ujiri on the Steam Room, it was a fantastic listen. I'm actually going to pull it up. Let me see if I can pull it up and just play a little bit of it. I hope it doesn't get flagged for copyright or whatever. I'll clip it out after if it does. But can y'all give me a W if you did see it? Hang on one second. Hang on one sec. Hang on. May I just say that there's nothing that made the Raptors media happier than hearing that they are Masai Ujiri's boss. They are not his boss. I know that he says he has to serve the fans, he has to serve, but the ultimate thing he has to serve is himself, his dynasty, his vision, his creativity, and his mind. And y'all can definitely check out the rest of this. Just Google TNT. I just thought it was interesting that Masai Ujiri broke his silence, talked about the rebuild, etc. He also had an extensive part of this was about Dikembe Mutombo. Definitely go check it out. It's a fantastic listen. I don't think he says anything that's overly shocking in this. Like there wasn't like anything. I was like, wow, that was really new information. I didn't know that. But it was interesting to hear from Masai. It's always interesting. He's so well spoken. He's so passionate about how he presents his case. But overall, I think that the most important thing, and this is something that people really need to realize, is that Masai knows more than most people. He is a very capable architect. He understands what types of things drive winning. He talked at one point that, when you have 21-year-olds, 20-year-olds, they don't win in the NBA. And he made that point very clear that they don't win. And hopefully, those 21-year-olds and 20-year-olds, they know that they're not supposed to win. They know that while the expectation is that, we're going to go out there and we're going to try our best every single night, that the expectation is not that, hey, we're supposed to be a 45 win team right now. The Detroit Pistons are completely different on a completely different trajectory. This is a team that already did their tanking. So, what I don't appreciate is that because Scotty and Cade were drafted in the same draft, that we got to measure these teams, exactly. Because I never really resorted to the argument of Scotty's better than Cade because Scotty's on a better team in his rookie year. That was not the main crux of the argument. The argument was Cade's turning the ball over a lot. Cade's not healthy. Cade's super inefficient. Scotty is doing better at his role. I never denied that Cade's role was more complicated, but of course, long term, that was always supposed to be the case. But I think Scotty's role has been hella complicated this year. It's been very complicated. Plays 4 or 5 positions defensively. He's anchoring the defense. He is their best defender. He is their best point guard, shooting guard, small forward, power forward, center. That has to mean something. But it doesn't mean anything to people who just look at stats. It doesn't mean anything to Jack Armstrong. It doesn't mean anything to Matt Devlin. It doesn't mean anything to these people because they see basketball, they consume basketball in a completely different way. I'm probably in the minority. I know, honestly, let me tell you this. I've talked to every trainer that I know about Scotty, every one of them. We've talked about it. I've talked to other players about him. I've talked to people in the media about him off the record. I've talked to, we've exchanged emails with some of the people that as well in the media. We've all talked about Scotty over the last 2-3 years. I have consistently found that there's not one person in the world that I have truly found to be higher on him than I am, other than maybe his trainer, his mom, his friends, maybe. Like those are the only people that I think are really like Scotty's going to be a superstar, Like the vast majority of people outside of this community don't see it that way. But that's okay. Barry, you're behind the stream. He's already gone. He's been banned. He's out. Okay, let me bring on Darko Rakovik and listen to what Darko has to say about this game.
Darko, your offense really dried up that last 5 minutes there, and they were able to get enough, to kind of get some separation. What happened on each end of the floor in those last 5 minutes?
That fourth quarter in last, I believe, 4 minutes, we were 1 for 7 from the free throw line. That really costed us. I thought that we were getting good looks. We missed some wide open shots, and on the other side, they were able to make some shots that I thought that they were pretty contested. So tonight, it was, we always say that this league is make or miss league, and tonight they made more shots than us, and that was that was the main difference.
Are you kind of okay with 3-point defense is variable, as you say, it's make or miss, but you've had a few teams in a row here put up some good numbers from behind the line on you.
Yeah, when somebody's shooting 19 3-3, I thought that we were doing solid job to chase them off the line, but all those shots that they they took, they were like, they made a lot. They shot almost 60% from the field. Some of the shots were heavily contested. I thought that in transition, there were a couple of situations where we did not do good job of fighting Hardaway and matching up with him as the most important guy in transition. Other than that, like they were coming off of DHOs, we were going over, they were stepping behind the 3-point line and knocking down some of those shots.
Sorry, you go ahead, Kayla.
That's okay. When you're going to the bench and say like the first quarter and that's bringing you back into the game, what is the conversation like with the starters to kind of come back into the second half? I mean, obviously it's nice to have the second unit kind of help you or bail you out, but what are you saying to your guys?
I mean, just ability to be able to, from the start to the third quarter, start of the game, to bring that energy right away, to bring that alertness and then focus from the start. Our bench tonight, Chris Boucher was great for us again, and I thought that Bruce Brown gave us some really high quality minutes of the bench there. Jamal played great off the bench. I mean, with those guys, they really get us going there. And I think that they did a good job in the second half as well. But starters over there, that was the one that we needed a better start of the game.
It seemed like when Scotty was on Cade, he did a pretty good job, used his physicality. When he wasn't on Cade, Cade made a lot of plays. Would you consider a change to the starting lineup to give Scotty more defensive support, or do you think your starters have it within them to deal with those sort of plays?
Thanks, Eric.
It's a fine line. Like, we want to develop all of those guys. There is a reason we have those starters that we use right now. Doesn't mean that things are not going to change. At this point, we want to develop those guys, challenge those guys, and continue seeing the progress there. But at some point, we might look at bringing somebody more defensive oriented.
And Ochai, was that just a lot of guys available and not his night to play?
No, Ochai, he was a couple of days away from a team. Tonight, previous game against Cleveland, we had a couple of guys coming off the bench doing a pretty good job, and just wanted to give those guys another opportunity tonight. So next game, he's going to be available and ready to go.
How have you seen Jamal Shead kind of evolve in his rookie season? So
Great
far?
question.
He's definitely the last couple of games strung together some amazing performances.
I mean, he's so detail-oriented player. He puts a lot of work in. He's very intentional about his player development plan, what he's trying to achieve, getting much better in attacking downhill and connecting with his teammates, while trying to learn how to play with that pace and force and taking care of the ball. And then on defensive end, he just always brings the high quality intensity that helps us on defensive end. So I'm really satisfied with his development this year. It's like any other rookie, it's going to be ups and downs, but I like what he's showing us last couple of games.
Another close game down the stretch, and you guys couldn't find a way to execute. Obviously, free throws were a part of that. What do you see out there tonight?
You know, we shot from the line.
It was 3 for 10 down in the last 5 minutes or something.
I mean, that's not. I guess it is a big part of what happened. But to be honest, I didn't even know. Just being in the game, I just felt like we gave them a lot of clean looks down the stretch. Actually, our defense was kind of good, but some of the threes I gave up to Tim. Cade played really well. They played pretty good. Their defense was really well too. So tough game.
What would you attribute kind of like the lack of energy at the first start of the game for the starting unit that the bench had to subsequently come in and kind of?
I don't know. But credit to our bench for coming in, giving us that spark, giving us a chance. So when we got back in, we could, try to come back and get a lead. I think we got to do a better job. It starts with me of just trying to extend those leads and play with a lead. We don't play with a lead enough. It seems like we're always trying to fight back, come back. And that starts with me. So I got to be better.
Do you feel like you guys are still trying to find flow with each other with that starting unit being back? I know that there's been obviously a lot of time that you spent together this summer or what have you, but being back now, do you think that that's taking some time?
Yeah, but you could say that for the whole year if you wanted to. We got to figure it out. Offensively, defensively, we got to figure it out. We got to establish who we're going to be on both sides of the ball, and we got to figure it out quick.
That slightly off topic question. You guys are playing Golden State Monday. I'm just wondering, what kind of example, role model Steph Curry was in your development growing up as a guy who.
He was definitely big. He was one of my favorite players coming into the league. He gave me my first signed jersey coming into the league. My rookie year, he gave me like a 2-minute, 3-minute audio message that really encouraged me my rookie year because I was struggling a little bit. So he's somebody that, coming into the league has really helped me out a lot, just as far as like the mindset, the approach to the game. He butchered my name one time, called me Isaiah quickly. So I still hold that against him. But other than that, he's somebody that, I try to look to as far as, advice and just the way he carries himself, humble, but works hard. So.
And his style of play where he kind of established that, as a point guard getting up 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 threes in a game is not only okay, it's actually can be a really good thing. Does that inform you and how you've developed kind of coming up in not just in the league, but in high school and stuff?
Yeah, you try to take different pieces and parts from, a lot of great players, and the way he shoots the ball obviously is something that has changed the game and changed the way defensive.
See, Virgil Summers, I'm going to say something to you, and I hope you hear me. I really hope you hear me. Okay? I was a Pistons fan in 04 because y'all traded for my favorite player, one of my favorite players in the league, Rasheed Wallace. I like Tayshaun Prince. I like Larry Brown, so I supported the Pistons, and I was rooting for them. Even when they went up against my other favorite team, the Spurs, still rooted for the Pistons. Feel like I'm a pretty blue-collar person, so I feel a very strong connection to, the city of Detroit. Felt a lot of pain for Flint, the water crisis. So this is not meant to be as disrespectful as it's going to come off, but please hear me when I say this. I would not trade Scottie Barnes for your last 4 lottery picks combined. I wouldn't trade him for Cade plus Jaden plus Asar plus Ron. That's how much I don't value your core. That's how much I don't value your play-in spot right now. I'm going to tell you something else. If the Raptors do get Dylan Harper or Cooper Flagg in the draft, I wouldn't trade your last 4 lottery picks for them either. That's how I feel about your core going forward. Jaden Ivey's all right. Asar Thompson might be one of my favorite young players in the league. Y'all not cooking shit with that. And to this comment right here, 2019 was y'all only year, nothing good, nothing good happened. That's the only year you and people dummies like you ever paid attention to the Raptors. Because the truth is, the Raptors from 2014 to 2020 were the second best team in the NBA regular season. Second best team. They made an Eastern Conference Finals. When's the last time the Pistons were in the Eastern Conference Finals? For real, for real. When's the last time? Were you born when that happened? Were you even born when that happened? You sound like you're 12. Lastly, let me say this as an American who's living in Canada for the last almost 20 years now. There is no amount of money in human history that you could pay me to move from Toronto to Detroit right now. No amount. You could not pay me $500,000 to move to your city. Nor would you want to, but I'm just throwing that out there. Toronto is a better city. The Raptors are a better organization. It's better ownership, even though I don't even like the ownership. It's better than Tom Gore's. It's better management. I prefer our coach. I prefer our development staff. Nah, you not American no more. We traded you. Well, you don't change my citizenship, bro. If y'all continue to build around Cade Cunningham, you will never, ever, ever win a championship with Cade. And put that in writing. If he's your best player, you will never win a championship. If you ever win a championship with Cade Cunningham as your leading scorer, your number one go-to option, your best player, if you ever win a championship with Cade Cunningham, come at me. I will apologize to you fully. I'll donate $100 to the charity of your choice that day on the spot. On the spot. So, sobering reality. I prefer the Raptors to the Pistons. Let me say one last thing to you and dummies like you and all the dumbasses that came from the Detroit Pistons fan base into this chat tonight and tried to derail something that we were talking about. Let me say something to you. If the Raptors, this Raptors core, as flawed, as dysfunctional, as weird as these lineups are, all this stuff, as inexperienced as you might think this coaching staff is, if this Raptors team with Scottie Barnes, RJ Barrett, Emmanuel Quickley, these dudes faced the Detroit Pistons in the playoffs this year in a 7-game series, I would bet every dollar that I own that the Raptors would smoke the Pistons. Smoke them. Y'all smoke your packs. Y'all have your happy, oh, we're ninth. We're so happy to be ninth. Please understand, we chose not to do that because we're not stupid. We tried to do this whole bullshit with the 9th, 10th, play in for what bullshit when we had Fred, OG, and Pascal. I think we swept y'all that year, didn't we? Didn't we? Cade played some of those games, right? 5 years. 5 years? You wait 50 years. It ain't happening. %. Wait for it. Wait for it. Wait till you face New York in a playoff series and you see what OG Anunoby does to Cade Cunningham. Yo, you get triple doubles every single night. 10 turnovers every night. Don't understand. Winter is coming. Winter's here. Winter is here. Okay? So y'all keep the same energy. Man, I have never seen... Like, honestly, I have a lot of issues with the Raptors fan base. But, yo, getting introduced to the Pistons fan base tonight, holy shit. Y'all dumb as hell. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. All that culture, all the bad boy Pistons, all those great teams in the late 80s, early 90s. I would think y'all fan base would have higher standards than this shit. I would think y'all be like embarrassed to be talking to other teams, right? But maybe y'all have some irrational confidence.
His guard, and just in general, the big has to be up in every pick and roll. When he's coming down in transition, you think he's gonna shoot every time. So kind of how I'm trying to play. Just want to be aggressive, make the defense have to guard me so that I can get my teammates easier shots.
So yeah, last game, career high, I believe.
H2K Sports saying, but keeping it real, Rob, you can't be 8-31 on the season talking noise. I'm going to talk my noise. I'll be talking shit if we were 0-40, 0-41, 0-42. I'd be talking shit if we were if we finished the year 5-77. I would still talk shit. I would still tell you Scotty's better than Cade. It doesn't matter. You're not going to move me. Last year when everyone was saying that the Pistons were the worst team in basketball history, I made a video. Y'all remember it, saying the Pistons are not that bad. They're not as bad as y'all think they are. They're losing a lot of these games close. They were in this game, that game. This is why I looked at the numbers. I'm not someone who's swayed by the narrative too much, right? Bingo. If the Pistons have fans, why are the 20-19 Pistons struggling to bring fans to watch their team? Bro, they have fans. They have fans for sure. They have fans. They're too busy. They're too busy hating on me, apparently on X, and it's okay. I've been talking about Cade for years now. I talked about Cade on the panel. One of my most famous viral takes was about Cade. So when the Pistons beat the Raptors, I'm gonna expect a lot of energy from the Pistons fan base, and y'all didn't disappoint tonight. So thank you so much. Thank you so much. Let me know where I can ship you the $2 on your Venmo so you can afford to go to the game with little Dookie. All right. Exactly. I mean, I used to watch Motown Noah. That dude doesn't even watch the Pistons anymore. Damn. Actually, let me give a shout out to one of my favorite content creators. It's actually a Pistons fan, Commissioner Dynamo. I watch all that guy's videos. He is awesome, super funny, covers the entire league, possibly one of the funniest YouTubers, period, covering basketball. Love him. Every time my girlfriend and I watch him, she always says, why can't you be a little bit more like him? And I'm like, I got zero charisma. I'm very dry as hell. But Commissioner Dynamo is amazing. He's very funny. He's like borderline stand-up comedian, man. He's amazing. So, yeah. And yeah, that's the funniest thing. I mean, I like so many Detroit-based musicians. I love those 04 Pistons. I love Eminem. But Pistons fans are, yeah, weird. I have a real question. Who do you think is better, Quickly or Calderon? Quickly. How many people have you heard say that they want to go to Detroit for their food? Detroit food's not that bad. It's not Toronto food, though, I'll tell you that. Y'all come up to Toronto. Help our economy. It's struggling hard. The next 51st state, right? You might be dyslexic. You got the numbers back. You got those arrows pointing the wrong way. Calderon is better. Calderon's all right. I mean, obviously, I like Kyle more than both of them, but I like Quickly, man. I feel like y'all sleeping on Quickly a little bit too much. He is better than he's looked for sure. Like he's coming off that UCL injury, and I think UCL injuries are. I'm not saying they're unprecedented in basketball, but I looked at. There wasn't a. If you look at Andrea Bargnani, I think he had a couple of UCL injuries in Toronto. If I'm not mistaken, I believe it was Andrea who had a couple, and his shooting splits were abysmal after it. I think people respond differently, but IQ is clearly struggling. I think he's been below 500 in every single game. I do want to give a bit of a shout out to Bruce Brown. I think, his game was a little bit mixed. He made a lot of mistakes, but I genuinely don't really like the guy too much. So I feel like I'm nitpick his game a little bit too much, but he played overall his best game since coming back. And yeah, I think he's boosting that trade value. I mean, if you're a rival general manager and you watch tonight's game, you might have been seduced into thinking Chris Boucher and Bruce Brown were second and third best player tonight. Yeah. Donald Trump is going to buy Canada. Oh, that's why we don't agree, because you're a Trump voter. All right, that's cool. Andrew's saying Jack was talking about trading Boucher on his birthday. Wow. You know what? This is the real problem with America right now, is the education system is so bad. Your math scores are so terrible. It's no wonder everything I'm saying is going right over your head. I mean, for real, like I know a lot of really smart Americans. That's the craziest shit in America, is like the dumbest people in America are like the dumbest people you've ever met in your life ever. But the smartest people in America are also some of the smartest people you've ever met in your life. Some of the smartest people that I know in America, I got a friend who's running like a very, very, very good tech business in San Francisco from Wuhan, China. She is brilliant. I know a few of our listeners from the United States are very, very intelligent people. I got cousins in the United States that are super smart, super educated. One of my cousins went to MIT. Shit, I got into Cornell. But I'm going to say this. If you took like some of the dumbest people, like if you compile like the dumbest million people on earth, I guarantee you a very large number of those people will be American. Because when y'all bottom out hard. Y'all bottom out so hard. And you wear ignorance like a badge of honor. That's the craziest shit. And I experienced this firsthand. Of course, when we moved to the United States, I was like 5 years old. When I was 5 years old, we moved to the States from Europe. Yeah. Like I experienced this firsthand. Some of the smartest people you've ever seen. Like really, really brilliant, innovative, studious, but inferiority complex. Hell no. No. Yo, Deno, you're as a New Yorker, you're from New York? Where? Where in New York you from? Oh, that's sweet. I grew up in Washington Heights, man. That's super cool. That is super cool. No, I miss New York a lot. Last year at Penn Dance, we programmed Pratfall, which was from New York. We programmed Money, which was from New York. We had a real ode to New York last year at Penn Dance. That was great. Speaking of Penn Dance, the Penn Dance Film Festival, which I founded and run, is coming up on February 27th to March 2nd. Some of you have already bought your passes. Appreciate y'all. There's going to be some great films. Film selections are going to be finalized tonight. To you, wait, where are you at? Where are you at? Resident One. I haven't forgotten about your video. I'm working on it. I apologize for the delay, man. I told you it was going to come out Friday. It is Sunday morning right now. I apologize. It is coming out. I sourced all the clips. I put it together. Just got to do the voiceover and put it out, but it's going to be good. I hope you'll like it. But yeah, we've been sorting through like hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of film submissions for Penn Dance, and there's a lot of really good films. So having to go through a 30-minute film and then another 30-minute film, an hour film, like you only got so many hours in a day. Our team is small, but we are effective and we are good. So hopefully we get all that done tomorrow, and then I'll spend the rest of the day. The Raptors don't play again until I want to say Monday against the Warriors. One of the Raptors' next game. Hang on, let me just check the schedule. Okay. So yes, it is Golden State, Boston, Milwaukee, Orlando, Atlanta. Love it. Love it. The only winnable game in this entire stretch was Orlando, which we lost, and Detroit. And we lost them both. So the next 6 are like, well, I mean, Golden State's kind of playing like ass, I'll be honest. And Golden State is in Toronto. So maybe you win Golden State, but then you lose to Boston, lose to Milwaukee. Also, I think it's worth noting that Boston lost to Sacramento. So Boston has this nasty habit of playing really down to their competition. So maybe Boston comes in and we surprise Boston. But I feel like at Milwaukee versus Orlando and the 2 games at Atlanta are going to be really tough. And then you can pretty much set your clock to a win on January 27th with all the stuff that's going on with Zion Williamson. And then you got at Washington. Jeez, hold on. Let me pull this up for a second so y'all can see what I'm looking at here. So you got at Washington, which is I could lock that win in right now. Like I guarantee you that's the one game that the Raptors are actually going to be favored to win in this stretch. New Orleans, Washington. So you could have like a 3 to 4 game win streak here. You know what I mean? Coming up end of January, you could end up winning 3-4 straight. And then that's going right into the trade deadline. So that might actually be a good thing because you're going to be in like all these negotiations. And then, oh, what do you know? You beat Washington. You're on a 2-game win streak. I don't know. So that's why I'm saying these losses have to count. Look, at the end of the day, at the end of the year, nobody cares who you won your 22 games against. Nobody. The lottery odds do not discriminate. If you beat all contenders, I mean, look at the Knicks record against the top 2 teams in each conference. I think they're 0-5 or 0-6. That matters to me. It matters to me that you've been smoked by Boston, Cleveland, Houston, and OKC. It matters. Those are the teams you want to go up against, right? And it matters to me that the Raptors were really competitive against the Denver Nuggets because I actually respect the Denver Nuggets a lot. And I think they're a good basketball team. And Jokic played that game, and we were up 6. And Jokic played crazy good. You know what I mean? I'm not saying the Raptors are on par with the Denver Nuggets. Please understand me. If the Denver Nuggets were here, I mean, I think that they would smoke the Raptors. What I'm saying is we've seen enough competitive losses this year, genuinely, and we've seen enough sample of RJ, Scotty, IQ closing out games in past years to know that at this point, really, it is by design how we are losing these games. Maybe we were trying to lose tonight's game by 1 or 2, but I'll guarantee you, if this was like a 1-point game and we're down 1, Darko is drawing up like a freaking pull-up 3 for RJ Barrett, and he's going to chalk it up to we want to build up confidence. You know what I mean? Like, look, they're doing everything in their power to lose these games while developing these young players. I think, holding Jonathan Mobo out, holding Jamison Battle out, some people might say, hey, like your offense is better with this guy or that guy. I think it's purely about trades at this point. Bruce Brown is being dangled. Chris Boucher is being dangled. They are clearly, more experienced, better players, than some of the players you'll play in their place, like Ulrich and maybe some of the 10 days. But, give it some time. Young players have a fantastic way of losing close games. They're really, really bad on the road. They are impressively bad in the clutch. Usually they make a lot of mistakes. Defensively, they make a lot of mistakes. And I put it simply, a 26-year-old is supposed to beat most 21-year-old basketball players. Like at the professional level, if you're 26, 27, 28, even if you're a journeyman role player, even if you're like in your early 30s, but you're still serviceable, like a Tim Hardaway Jr., or Malik Beasley, Tobias Harris, these guys are supposed to have their way with Grady Dick. They're supposed to. They are supposed to. I mean, seriously, there's no competition in terms of the size, strength, all that stuff, right? So that's why a lot of young players don't play. That's why when you look around the league at all the really terrible teams, they're playing young players. Utah is playing Keontae George, right? Now, New Orleans is playing Jordan Hawkins, right? If the Lakers wanted to lose, what would they do? What would they do? What would the Lakers do if they wanted to lose? Easy. Very, very simple formula. Austin Reeves, Dalton Connect, starting lineup. You would never stop anybody defensively. Those two would get cooked on a nightly basis. Lead them as a point of attack. You'll never win another game in your life. But they'll never do that because they hide those guys, because that's what they have Cam Reddish for and Gabe Vincent for and AD for, right? So anyways, I expect Bruce Brown to get traded soon. Nice to see him have a game that was at least competitive. He's been awful so far. I think he was shooting 17% coming into 3. So yeah, maybe there's a reason he didn't pass that up, but that he did pass that shot up. But yeah, anyways, I'm gonna talk to y'all later. 2 hours and 24 minutes for a Detroit Pistons Raptors game on a Saturday night is crazy work, but yes. And to stay accountable, I apologize. I'll apologize right now to Elijah or whatever. I don't respect you at all. Clearly, I don't like you, but I really had no reason to call you a bitch. And I just, I think I got into my feelings a little bit. I think I did. I think I'm genuinely very annoyed by this Cade Scotty debate, because I thought we crossed this bridge. I thought last year Scotty made the All-Star team, it's over. But then, Cade has a little bit of success this year, and suddenly all those people want to be like, oh, you got cooked. You got cooked. Oh, this is the state of, social media today, right? Like this is where we're at right now. Everyone lives in a 24-hour news cycle. If Scotty had 40 tonight and Cade had 12, I would feel no differently about this at all. I wouldn't talk about it any differently. I would still maintain the exact same energy. And if Cade had 40 and Scotty had 12, I'd feel the same way. I felt the same way for 3 years. It's not changing anytime soon. Okay? FA with a good point here. Don't let folks get into you. The journey is a marathon, not a sprint. I agree. Long term, none of this is going to matter. Scotty's going to be great. He's going to be who he's going to be. We're going to get our top 5 pick, top 6 pick. I'm going to speak that into existence next year. And this summer is going to be fun. It's going to be hella fun. It's going to be full of Grady working out footage and trade rumors. And, don't be surprised. Look, the Raptors don't want to be in a long rebuild. I'll tell you that right now. This is killing them. Look at where Canada is as an economy. Where I'm not necessarily saying we're as downtrodden as some people on X seem to think we are. I've looked at the numbers, but things are tough for people right now, right? And MLSE is looking at this, and they're looking at dwindling ticket sales, and they need to sell some hope here. And you're not going to sell hope by bringing these guys back. I'm sorry, you're not. You're not going to sell hope by bringing a team that's 8-31 back. You got to sell some sort of new vision for the future. And maybe that new vision for the future is RJ Barrett. Did y'all ever hear me waver on the RJ Scotty debate? Y'all remember that debate? It feels like it was 5 years ago, right? That we were talking about Scottie Barnes versus RJ Barrett. Believe me, the debate 5 years ago was clearly in RJ's favor. But since Scotty's come into the league, this debate has been over. But just 3 weeks ago, people were saying, no, we need to build around RJ. How do you feel about it now? I don't feel any different. This game didn't swing my opinion at all. I wasn't gassing up RJ when he was scoring 30 points per game. I'm not down on him when he's scoring 12. He's exactly who I think he's supposed to be. He's exactly who I think he's supposed to be. Cade is exactly who I think he's supposed to be. He's been a little bit more efficient as a shooter than I expected this year, and that has been the big advantage. Still turns the ball over like a crazy motherfucker. Still doesn't see some of those advantages. Doesn't have as wide the passing angles as Scotty does. I just don't. I don't see this working in the playoffs. And if it works in the playoffs, I'll eat crow. Don't worry, I'll be there. I'll be like, "Yo, I was wrong, 100%." I'll do the same thing I did with Scoot Henderson, where I was wrong about Scoot. I thought, damn, I'll do the same thing I did with Brandon Miller. Oops, I was wrong. I'll do the same thing I did with Jabari Smith. Oops, I was wrong. I'll do the same thing that I did with Zach Edey earlier in the draft process. If y'all remember early in the draft process last year, I was saying Zach Edey is overrated, should be a second round pick. But y'all saw, like, after the March Madness, I changed my tune on Zach Edey. I did. I said, yeah, I could see him being a top 15 player. I could see him being better. I do change my mind when the evidence demands me to. But I will not change my mind because someone scored 51 points. I thought Terrence Ross should be traded before he scored 51. I thought he should be traded after he scored 51. I thought Malachi Flynn was going to be out of the league. Last year, if y'all remember, before this season, and shout outs to my man Gubstown Clink, if y'all remember that entire beef that happened, and give a shout out to Gubs, because we've been very friendly over this year and nothing, has been controversial. But if you'll remember, Gubs came at me really, really hard. He's another content creator on YouTube Space. Definitely go check out his stuff. And he came out at me and he was really upset that, he pulled up a whole bunch of stuff. He said, didn't you say this? Didn't you say that? And he was really upset about one particular thing where he said, I said Malachi Flynn was not an NBA player, that I didn't think Malachi Flynn was going to be in the NBA long term. Y'all remember that? Do y'all remember that? Give me a W in the chat if you remember that. Just so maybe the newer people don't think that I'm capping here. Hang on one sec. Yes, exactly. And where is Malachi Flynn? Like, this is not me running victory laps. It's just me saying, like, okay, like it didn't seem like it was going to happen that way, but it did. Okay. This dude right here, I've been talking about Jamal Shead for a really long time. Like, since the start of the season, since training camp, since the summer, I've been saying, I really like this guy. When he was in the G League, I was hyping him up. Okay. And where is that quote? Hold on. Where is it? Hold on. Like, I hate how much shit I took for my Davion takes. And now Davion's out of the rotation. And boop, nothing. I don't hear the people saying, like, oh my God, we were wrong about Davion. Where's the accountability, y'all? Where the hell is the accountability? Can we hear something from people who were saying that he should probably get $10 million? Can we hear those people talking about how he's collecting DMP CDs? No, we don't hear nothing. Okay, here we go. There it is. Did I say it or did I say it? October 6th. Some of y'all really supported this. Thank you for that. Thank you for that. No pushback here, right? No pushback. And I appreciate y'all for that. But later on, when we were talking about potentially Davion Mitchell's not going to be in the league next year, which is a very real possibility, which I'm really hoping against, by the way. I think Davion has been awesome. Like, I really, it's the funniest thing. Ever since I went back and forth with Davion, I've actually, like, started to like Davion, which is the worst thing. Like, I'm just trying to keep it 100 here. I'm rooting for this guy to get another contract. I don't necessarily want it to be with the Raptors, but I'm really hoping that he does well. Like, I think he's a fantastic teammate. I think I love his energy on the bench. He's never sulky. He's always rooting his guys on. I know what a huge part of Jamal Shead's development, Jacoby's development that he's been. I'm sure he's a great practice player. I'm just rooting for him. Exactly. This is it. Davion's a good person. Yeah. That's what that back and forth taught me about him. He never got super disrespectful. I mean, I if I ever have a chance, if I ever meet him, I will 100% say if I came at you too hard, I'm sorry. Because I think sometimes it's very difficult to understand who am I actually addressing. I was addressing the media that was gassing him up into something that he wasn't, because I don't hear those people talking now, right? That's almost always my concern. Like, when people say that I hate Pascal. I never hated Pascal, yo. Like, you can't even understand. Like, I have such a soft corner in my heart for African prospects in general and people who are hard workers in general. Like, for me to hate Pascal would be insane. Like, Pascal, I love Pascal. Like, I'm rooting for Pascal always. I was like, the minute he got traded, it was all water under the bridge. My issue was always with the people saying he's a top 5 player and that we should build around him and trade Scottie Barnes. That to me is crazy. So my issue is never personal. It's not personal. With Fred, it was a little bit personal. With RJ, it's not personal. I have an issue with RJ's defense. It's not personal. Where do we get this? He's a hater. Why? Because I think RJ needs to be traded. I'm a hater. Maybe I just have a very different understanding of roster construction than you, right? It's just different. We got to, like, I'm a Cade hater. Why? Because I don't think he creates separation well enough. Because I think he's not a good defender. Because I don't think he's as good as Scotty. I'm a hater. Okay, cool. I'm a hater. I did a lot of hating today, though. Self-looking glass proving real true. That's true. That's true. That's true. He did cross the line with the thing. He said there was a person egging him on, which was Davion Muse, who said something along the lines of, damn, did Davion take his girl or something? And then Davion chimed in and said something along the lines of, damn, I'm sorry if I took his girl, no disrespect intended, et cetera, et cetera. I must have taken his girl for him to be hating on me this hard. And that's when I responded like hard. In fairness, I mean, he's probably got a lot of people in his ear saying like, this guy's making videos about you and talking shit about you. And look, I respect the grind. You know how hard it is to make the NBA? It's the hardest shit on earth. Like, it feels like it's harder to do that than anything I could think of. Like, the odds are astronomically small. The fact that a 6'1" guy makes it to the NBA is like, really, there's a reason why people support undersized players the way they do. There's a reason why people have such a soft corner in their heart for Isaiah Thomas. It's really hard. It's really hard. And respect to anybody who works hard enough to do it. It is damn near impossible for sure. For sure. I knew some of, like, if you saw these guys in an open gym, if these guys, like some of the people I'm talking about, if these guys walked into your open gym, like, they would cook you for like 50, 60 points. They weren't even getting Division I offers because they were like 5'10", 5'11", right? So it's really hard to make it as an undersized guard. I respect Davion as a hard worker, and you know what? Like, feed your family, you know, like, keep stacking wealth for generations. And unfortunately, the space that we're in right now, you know, where we're creating the storylines, creating the narrative, covering the games. Unfortunately, if you do get a little bit too negative about a player, yeah, everyone in that player's life sees that, right? Everyone in Scotty's life sees the Scotty articles. I mean, you'd be crazy not to. If you had a son in the NBA, would you read their articles about them? Of course you would. Like any proud parent would. Of course, Eric Flynn sees my video saying Malachi Flynn's not going to be in the NBA next year. And of course, I'm sure he disagrees. I was right, but I'm sure he disagrees. And, you know, when you're thinking about your child's best interest or your brother's best interest or your boyfriend's best interest or your best friend's best interest or your favorite player's best interest, you certainly don't want anyone highlighting all their negative traits. So I understand a little bit about, you know, maybe people are really upset with my Cade coverage, and I get it. I get it. I was a little too low on him. So I apologize for that to anyone. You know, I said I might take Jalen Suggs over him. I was wrong. To the people that I said I might take, Trey Murphy, I was wrong for sure. Herb Jones, I said at one point I would probably prefer Herb Jones. Probably wrong about that. There ain't no way in hell I'm taking Cade over Scotty, Franz, Alpi, or Evan Mobley. Ever, ever, ever. And it's not that close. It's not that close at all. All right. Enjoy the night. Sorry, it got a little bit heated, convoluted, stupid, but hopefully it was entertaining for some people. All right. Talk to y'all later. Bye-bye.